more stories to uncover, more videos to discover.
He did it his way.
Personalized for you.
And that's what makes it so special.
The 11Alive app. Available now in the App Store.
Hey, I got the ways to go. I got moves to make, call me, but I stay in the flow. See, I just do what I say I'ma do. No, my movement ain't faded. You could assume what we're doing was great.
Oh, and so I was saying, there is always something filming here in Atlanta. From movies to TV shows, you name it. And so the A Scene keeps up with all of it for you. Casting calls, which big celebrities are in town, what's filming, and if it's in your neighborhood. It's like an inside scoop.
Oh, nice. But you know, I really wish you would have told us we were filming this today.
Ooh, did I not text you? All right. Ah, it's in my drafts. That's my bad.
So you slept in and you missed Morning Rush, huh? Well, here's what you missed.
In my experience, good guys do finish last.
I consider myself a nice guy. I've got the most beautiful woman in the world in my eyes.
You're a nice guy too,
Yeah.
Jess.
I'm saying in my experience, when growing up, good guys didn't finish last.
Somebody broke his heart somewhere along the line.
We're here every weekday morning, so come on, hang out with us. Morning Rush, weekdays, 5 to 7 a.m., only on 11Alive.
Televised newscast not enough for you? Get even more at 11Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta.
Justice 13 years after the crime, how a Georgia law enacted just a couple of years ago led a felon with a long rap sheet to finally be convicted in a horrific crime that occurred here in Atlanta.
And they've been labeled cheaters and dismissed from the Department of Public Safety. Now one of the fire troopers is firing back, alleging he was just doing what he was told.
11Alive News Primetime on the ATL starts now.
It's Friday night, the weekend is upon us, but first we begin, and we are following breaking news. This coming out of Gwinnett County. Police have now found the body of a man involved in a carjacking and a shootout with police officers.
Investigators say he drove into Lake Lanier, where he continued firing at police as the car was sinking. 11Alive's Elwin Lopez is at the scene where it all came to a very dramatic end. She joins us now with details about how it all played out. Elwin?
Yeah, that's right, Jennifer and Jeff. We're at Peachtree Industrial Boulevard and Shadburn Ferry Road, where police say just after 4:15 p.m., a man got into a car accident, and then eyewitnesses told police that that man got out of the car with what seemed to be some sort of AK-style rifle. When police arrived on scene, they heard gunshots nearby, and when they went to see where they were coming from, they saw that the same suspects from the original car accident had actually carjacked a vehicle. He then drove that car, according to police, through the park and into the lake nearby. Police say that then the suspect started shooting at the officers from the lake. They don't know whether it was inside or outside of the car at this point, but officers returned fire. Divers then went into that lake and found a body near that car. Now, no officers were injured in this incident. Police do tell us, though, that there were several people who suffered minor injuries from that original car accident, but police also telling us that the carjacking victim in all of this was not injured, guys.
Okay, Elwin, thank you. The boyfriend of a missing college student is now charged with murder. The GBI made the announcement late this afternoon. DeMarcus Little has been the only person of interest in Anitra Gunn's death. Her body was found Tuesday in the woods a few miles away from Fort Valley State's campus in Middle Georgia. A cause of death still pending as they are waiting for the details of the autopsy to emerge.
We followed the leads, we followed the evidence, and the evidence led us to this, but it took it a minute to develop.
A task force did not give details on what evidence led them to that conclusion. The news of Little's charge came hours after he was granted bond. He's accused of damaging Gunn's car days before she disappeared. He did not post bond before the arrest warrant was issued for the murder. He is expected to have another court appearance for the new charge in the coming days. Gunn was a senior at Fort Valley State. The Atlanta native graduated from Westlake High School just 4 years ago in 2016.
Police say they have caught one person involved in a shooting at Lenox Square Mall, but they're still looking for another. That tops our speed feed tonight. Police say a man was shot last week behind Bloomingdale's after arranging to meet someone in the parking lot. The victim survived, but the suspects got away. To date, police revealed they are looking for Shakiria King, and they say they know who the second suspect is, but they're not revealing that person's name right now. Fulton County has solved another cold case after it completed testing a backlog of rape kits. Dana Sterling was convicted of raping a woman in 2007 in Atlanta. He left her for dead outside of a church, but someone came along and was able to help her. It wasn't until 2016 that things began to change. That's when a new law was enacted requiring law enforcement agencies to submit all of their untested rape kits to the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, leading to several arrests and convictions. That's how they were able to tie Sterling to this case. And a car fire shut down several lanes on the downtown connector near University Avenue. It happened during rush hour this evening. Drivers were asked to avoid the area until the wreck was cleared. All lanes have since reopened.
Well, we have been in a really wet pattern lately, and finally we are now drying out. And you can see here from our moisture map, the purple color that you see over us here in North Georgia, Metro Atlanta, and in South Georgia, that's indicating very dry air. And in perfect timing, this dry air is going to be here for the weekend as well. And you can see as we advance through time here, once we get into Sunday, it's still going to be dry. We'll see a few more clouds, though, that are going to build in, but we're not calling for any rain. But then once we start the week on Monday, yep, those clouds will eventually have more moisture with them, and we'll see some rain returning to our area. That's going to stick with us some on Tuesday before we start to dry out once we go toward the middle and also the end of the week next week. And then with that drier air at the end of next week, it's also going to get colder again. So we still have a lot of ups and downs to go through with our temperatures, as well as wet weather and dry weather and then wet again. So we'll talk more about that, and we'll detail that for you in the 7-day outlook.
Chris, thank you. He says it's humbling for the president to consider him for the job, but Georgia Congressman Doug Collins does not want to be the director of national intelligence.
This is not a job that interests me. At this time, it's not one that I would accept because I'm running a Senate race down here in Georgia.
Doug Richards spoke to Congressman Collins today, who says he is not giving up on the Senate race.
You could have been director of national intelligence. Why not?
Well, first off, it was never offered to me. And that's the first thing. And I think the really thing is I'm in this to win a Senate race.
The director of national intelligence reports directly to the president. Along with the CIA, it is one of 2 independent agencies in the U.S. intelligence community, in addition to the intel functions of the military, the FBI, Homeland Security, and other agencies. Collins says no federal job could dislodge him from the Senate race.
So let's just solve this. There's no scenario you're going to give me at this point that I'm going to sit here and say, that's the magic ticket. Doug Collins is not in this for magic ticket. Doug Collins is to be the best senator that Georgia's ever had. Hey, Senator, how are you?
Collins wants to unseat Kelly Loeffler, the political newcomer appointed by Governor Kemp to fill the Senate seat of Johnny Isakson. Loeffler instantly became, like Collins, a vocal supporter of President Trump. Do you give her any credit at all for being supportive of President Trump?
I give her credit for reading the talking points that she's given. And what's amazing is every position she's moved toward is a position Doug Collins has already had.
Collins will run for the Senate in a nonpartisan special election commonly known as a jungle primary. The candidates may campaign as Democrats and Republicans, but the ballot won't list them that way. It means Collins will be on the same ballot as Loeffler, plus Democrats Raphael Warnock, Ed Tarver, Matt Lieberman, and others. If no candidate gets 50% plus one, there will be a January runoff between the 2 top vote-getters. Collins says his challenge to Loeffler does not help the Democrats.
This is going to be a runoff. It's going to be 1 Republican, 1 Democrat, and we're going to take that runoff and we're going to win.
And Collins says he can beat Loeffler even if he doesn't get public support from President Trump. How much of your campaign is dependent on a presidential tweet later this year?
None. We've asked him to say, we have an understanding that he's going to stay out of this race. We believe he'll stay out of this race. That's all up to the President of the United States.
You're giving the president a lot of credit for being disciplined with his Twitter account.
The president is a disciplined individual.
Senator Loeffler declined to comment. She has collected a lot of endorsements, though, in recent days from national figures like Mitch McConnell and Newt Gingrich and some other local officials allied with Governor Kemp. But Collins says he's the front runner because of his experience in Congress. We asked NBC's Chuck Todd to analyze the president's thinking.
It's clear President Trump is desperately trying to do something here in this Republican primary, and I think that he hoped that somehow Collins would find this job so appealing he would do it. But frankly, it was sort of an odd thing. It seemed to come out of nowhere other than to deal with a political need of the president's, and he thought maybe he could kill two birds with one stone. But I don't think Doug Collins came to Washington with hopes of running the intelligence agency one day. I think he's a guy that strikes me that he wanted to move up the electoral ladder. So this seemed to be a misread by the president.
President Trump is wrapping up a rally in Las Vegas. He'll be back in Washington later tonight.
A Bartow County deputy and his family now are homeless after a fire destroyed their house. Amid the ashes, they were able to find 2 prized possessions, and now they're praying for one more small stroke of luck, and its ties back to how they escaped the fire in the first place. Caitlin Ross spoke to the Bird family today.
It was their dogs that saved them. The Bird family says before their smoke alarms even started going off, it was their dogs that alerted them there was a fire inside the house. Now that they're left with nothing, they say they want to do everything they can to help their animals.
It was terrifying. By the time I got out of the home, like my clothes were smoking from just having to go through the fire. Part of my hair was singed.
Melody Bird barely made it out of her home February 6th. Many of her animals never did.
Just lost 2 dogs and 4 cats and everything we own.
She was able to save 2 of her cats that she pulled out of the house. The fire department tried to save the rest.
I can't say enough good things about the Rome Fire Department, all the first responders in Floyd County that came and helped. They repeatedly went in that house to find my animals.
The home burned quickly and barely anything was left. Her husband, a Bartow County Sheriff's deputy who's on dialysis, asked if she would go back and look through the ashes.
He doesn't ask for much, and he works hard, and he asked if I could see if I could find his badge, his police badge, and his wedding ring. And within a few minutes, out of the ashes came the 2 items that he asked for. And that was a blessing.
Now, she says she needs a blessing for 2 of her animals that escaped, Storm and Rainy. She saved the sisters from an abusive home last year.
I just need a rescue or some family that can give them a home because we don't have a home right now. And I love those dogs enough to let them go because I want better for them.
She set up an email address for anyone willing to help, adoptstormandrainy@gmail.com. She wants them to have the life they deserve.
I saved them and then they saved me.
A friend of theirs did start a fundraiser to help the Bird family rebuild and to help their animals. If you want to donate, we put that link on our website, 11alive.com.
Still to come, a new bill wants to save our sandwiches. Why advocates say it could help feed children during the summer when they don't have any other options.
Don't forget, we're streaming right now on the 11Alive YouTube channel. Subscribe. Join in on the conversation. The community section is where you need to go. We've got more 11Alive news in prime time on this Friday night right after the break. Stay with us.
It's a good time. We don't worry about the hate. We just pass it to the side.
There's graffiti, community messages, concert announcements. You really never know what you're going to get here, and that's what makes it so special. You can find it between Cabbagetown and Inman Park. If you've never checked it out, it's a must-see. There are hundreds of works of art along the Beltline. I'm talking murals, sculptures, photography. This beautiful mural was created by the artist Hence. It's 100 feet long, and even though it was created in 2014, it still remains very popular to musicians and photographers alike. You can find it on the East Side Trail under Virginia Avenue. So let me know what you think. It doesn't have to be street art. Maybe your favorite spot is down the street from your home or a great view. Connect with me on Facebook and Instagram and share your favorite Instagram spots in Atlanta. And come hang out with me on Morning Rush, weekdays 5 to 7 a.m. on 11Alive.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11Alive today.
I haven't seen you in a while. Where you been?
It looks like fun.
They are fun.
They're
And
a lot
they're
of fun.
convenient. But they're being dumped everywhere.
5,000 scooters at one time active throughout the city. I enjoy them myself. They're fun. There's got to be some regulations.
I just feel like we have to evolve with the times, though. They're not going anywhere. They shouldn't go anywhere. It's a new way of transporting. We have to evolve.
I'm going to be looking for you next time, so use the hashtag and let us know you're hanging out with us. Morning Rush, weekday.
SOS, Save Our Sandwiches. That's the name of a new bipartisan bill quickly moving through the Georgia legislature.
And the driving force behind it, one nonprofit's program for the needy that was cut off over the summer. Last summer, Must Ministries was told it could no longer accept donations of homemade sandwiches for its summer lunch program. The charity had provided lunches for up to 7,000 children in 7 counties every day of the summer. And this has been going on for 24 years. It was all made possible by volunteers who were able to make the sandwiches and then deliver them.
That is until the health department got a tip about the program and told the charity it would have to find another way to get the food. It's all because current state law doesn't allow volunteers to make sandwiches in kitchens that aren't state certified or supervised. And they soon learned the only way around it was to change the law.
Whether you're a Republican or whether you're a Democrat, everybody is concerned about children. And so everybody's been looking and coming to us from different political parties saying, we want to help you.
And state lawmakers are trying to do just that. Now a new state Senate bill sponsored by Senator Kay Kirkpatrick out of Cobb County aims to eliminate the restrictions that crippled the program. It would allow nonprofits like Must Ministries to be exempt from rules that apply to other food establishments as long as they have a permit from the local government ensuring food is prepared safely and hygienically.
And the bill called the Save Our Sandwiches bill has passed almost every hurdle unanimously. Yesterday it cleared the Senate. Now it heads over to the House. If passed and signed by Governor Kemp, it would take effect immediately to ensure that Must Ministries will have time to plan for the summer sandwich program.
Now, if the law doesn't pass, Must Ministries is hoping to get their kitchen state certified so they can continue to make those sandwiches under the current law.
It's been a great day today as we've been enjoying those temperatures that have been drying out, or the temperatures that have been really cool with the atmosphere that's been drying out a little bit. And we're going to continue to see that cooling process taking place during the evening hours tonight. Lower 40s this hour, but then falling into the 30s by next hour. By 10 o'clock, we'll even be in the mid 30s. And then by midnight, we're closer to the freezing mark. I do think that after midnight, we will be at freezing, then below freezing, bottoming out in the upper 20s early tomorrow morning. We'll have clear skies throughout the morning hours and overnight, and then plenty of sunshine to start the day tomorrow. Still at about 30 degrees at 8 o'clock, but with that sunshine, we're going to see some pretty big rises in those temperatures each hour, eventually getting up into the 50s later on in the afternoon, right at about 57 degrees with that mostly sunny sky. You know, here at 11Alive in the ATL, we rate your weather on a scale from 1 to 11, where an 11 is a perfect day. We're going to go with a 10 on the Wazometer on Saturday. This is a day that we've been waiting for, and a weekend we've been waiting for a long time, to have some nice dry weather. The only reason we're not going with an 11 is just because this temperature is going to be pretty chilly, and I can imagine some people waking up in the morning thinking, this is not an 11, it's so cold. You may not even think it's a 10, but remember, this is a rating for the whole day, and it's going to be nice during the day, but just not quite perfect. So here's the timeline of what we're watching as we go through the rest of the evening hours tonight. Things are going to be just fine. Clear skies. We're just going to watch those temperatures falling through the overnight hours. And then by tomorrow morning, we're going to start off with dry weather conditions. And by 5 in the afternoon, mostly sunny skies. There might be just a couple little clouds building in. But again, temperatures will be rebounding pretty nicely as we go through the afternoon hours. It's going to be chilly again on Sunday, but just not that cold. We'll go down to about 33. At least it's not in the upper 20s again. But what I want you to see here is that clouds are going to start building in on Sunday, blocking out that sunshine a little bit more. Still, these clouds are not going to be producing any rain for us, but it's just going to be more of those clouds blocking out the sun. This is how it'll look at 5 o'clock. Now, eventually, the rain is going to be coming in with those additional clouds as they thicken up, and that's going to be here with us on Monday. A couple of scattered showers possible early in the morning on Monday, and then we'll see a little better coverage of showers coming in during the afternoon on Monday, and then even some more moderate to heavy rain that'll push in later Monday night, and that will linger into your Tuesday as well. So we go into a wetter pattern as we get into next week, but at least we have timed it out for the weekend to be dry. Saturday looks good despite that really cold start at 29. Then we get up to 57 in the afternoon with mostly sunny skies. Sunday, clouds increase, but we stay dry. Highs near 59. 60 on Monday with that rain chance up to 70%, a 50% chance for showers on Tuesday, and then Wednesday a 30% chance for showers as temperatures start to cool back down with highs back to the upper 50s. And then it's chilly again for the end of the week with our highs only in the upper 40s.
Okay, Chris, in a season and a half, Trae Young has given Hawks fans a whole lot of excitement. Offensively, he is peerless. He is amazing at that side of the court. 50 points against the Heat last night. First time he scored that many in the NBA. He gave his game jersey to Quavo. Asked why he didn't keep it himself, he said, well, it's not the last time that I'll score 50. There's some truth. Young broke a tie with Shaquille O'Neal for the most 40-point games by a player in his first 2 seasons in the NBA since the 1976-77 merger. And there were some great players from the ABA that merged back then. George Gervin in San Antonio, David Thompson, DT in Denver. I mean, you can go on and on with some of these great players from that era. But Trae Young is a scoring machine, someone to watch.
In high school, I averaged 43, so I scored 50 a lot. I wasn't able to do it in college, but, I mean, kids can only dream of scoring 50 in the NBA game. Like, that's, I mean, it's unreal. For me to be able to do it in my second year and also get a win, I was able to enjoy it a lot more.
So he's good at scoring points and helping kids. Today he received the NBA Cares Community Assist Award for January for impacting the lives of children and families and the needy in both Georgia and his home state of Oklahoma.
We're glad to have him here.
Yep.
Still to come, student debt is a $1.5 trillion crisis in the United States. One family is sharing how they make it work and whether it's all worth it in the end.
Some mornings, what you want isn't what you have time for. And that's why there's the Rush Blog, the biggest news of the day in 5 minutes or less. Quick and convenient for all those hectic mornings. Catch the Rush Blog on the Morning Rush.
Everybody has learned how to drive, so I'm going to go ahead and retire.
It didn't last long. Crank up your morning rush with Crash Clark. Weekdays, 5 to 7 a.m. on 11Alive. Traffic brought to you by John Foy & Associates.
Atlanta is filled with great photo spots. And of course, I would know because this is my hometown. I'm 11Alive's Francesca Amaker, and I'm about to show you my picks for the 3 best Instagram spots in Atlanta. The Outcast mural is one of Atlanta's newest hotspots. Created by the artist Jex, people flock from all over the world just to get a shot of these 2 hip-hop legends. News of the mural went viral when Big Boy himself gave a shout out on Instagram. You can find it tucked away in a back parking lot in Little 5 Points. An Atlanta icon, ever-changing, always interesting. The Krog Street Tunnel is full of artwork from some pretty eclectic Atlanta artists.
Yeah, all we feel is good vibe with it. It's a good time. We don't worry about the hate. We just pass it to the side.
There's graffiti, community messages, concert announcements. You really never know what you're gonna get here, and that's what makes it so special. You can find it between Cabbagetown and Inman Park. If you've never checked it out, it's a must-see. There are hundreds of works of art along the Beltline. I'm talking murals, sculptures, photography. This beautiful mural was created by the artist Hence. It's 100 feet long, and even though it was created in 2014, it still remains very popular to musicians and photographers alike. You can find it on the East Side Trail under Virginia Avenue. So let me know what you think. It doesn't have to be street art. Maybe your favorite spot is down the street from your home or a great view. Connect with me on Facebook and Instagram and share your favorite Instagram spots in Atlanta. And come hang out with me on Morning Rush, weekdays 5 to 7 a.m. on 11Alive.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews.
The price of a college education is one that many people are struggling to pay. 45 million Americans have student loan debt, and if you take a look at the price of colleges, private colleges, state universities, they are continuing to escalate. It amounts to nearly $1.5 trillion.
And for many families, the problem is twofold. Parents trying to chip away at their own debt while trying to tackle their child's student debt as well. Madison Stacy and Robin Wehold from our sister station in Knoxville followed a mother and daughter through the process.
Yeah, let me get to it. Keep it 100, I am the twin. Yeah, let me get to it. I get a check and I'm running right through it. Ooh, yeah, what you say? I gotta get it now, get out the way. Ooh, yeah, get out my lane. That's what I'm doing, man. I'm getting paid.
I go to Western Kentucky University. It's in Bowling Green, Kentucky, about 4 hours from Knoxville. I currently major in Chinese language and interior design.
About to start my morning at 7:50, go to my first class of the day, and this is one of the study rooms in the Honors College.
A daughter with a dream.
And so Chinese is definitely one of my major passions. I would like to become as fluent as possible, as proficient as possible in it.
A mother with a dream on hold.
Well, I wanted to get a marketing degree. I started out at Pellissippi. Never did really get to graduate from that just because, of course, life. So I'm about a semester and a half, about a year away from my own degree.
Chris, a single mom, and Lena, a college freshman, have tackled life as a team. And now they're taking on student debt together.
I knew going into college that I would have to take out loans.
Tuition at Western Kentucky for out-of-state students like Lena is a lot, about $26,000. She gets $6,500 in scholarship money.
Chris, who is still paying off her own student loans, is pitching in to help Lena as much as she can. But with each passing semester, the bill just grows.
I think right around $8,000. The interest just builds. They take $100 out a month, $1,200 in a year. $750 of it was interest.
That $8,000 is just a fraction of the total amount of student loan debt owed by millions of Americans.
$1.5 trillion.
The average student owes $35,000.
I will say the moment that I clicked yes, borrow the full amount for freshman undergrad, it hurt a little bit.
Just to pay the minimum, they have to juggle. Lena works on campus, balancing the books and her budget.
Right now I'm going to do some homework. I'm doing some stuff online, and I'll put in literally everything. I have my classes, what we're doing in that class.
Mom Chris has a full schedule too, one that still doesn't cover expenses sometimes.
There are times where you have to call KUB and get an extension. There's times where, like currently, the cable and internet's off at my house.
But it's the price they're both willing to pay.
For a dream they're indebted to.
It really is. I mean, it's not easy. It is hard. But, to be able to stand there and be proud and to be able to say, that's mine and I did that, and to know that together you can get through everything. I think, yeah. I mean, as long as she's doing what makes her happy and she has the opportunity to do that, then we'll figure it out.
A teen killed after trying to scare off the intruders with a BB gun. The suspect's all part of a ghost face gang.
So use the hashtag and let us know you're hanging out with us. Morning Rush, weekdays 5 to 7 a.m. only on 11Alive.
The 11Alive app is your go-to source for all things Atlanta.
You hear what happened today? I'll tell you all about it.
Breaking news the moment it happens.
The boil water advisory.
Hyper-local, accurate weather alert.
You may want to grab that sweater, maybe even a coat.
More stories to uncover. More videos to discover.
He did it his way.
Personalized for you.
And that's what makes it so special.
The 11Alive app. Available now in the App Store.
Hey, I got the ways to go. I got moves to make, homie, but I stay in the flow. See, I just do what I say I'ma do. No, my movement ain't faded. You could assume what you're doing was great.
Oh, and so I was saying, There is always something filming here in Atlanta, from movies to TV shows, you name it. And so the A scene keeps up with all of it for you. Casting calls, which big celebrities are in town, what's filming, and if it's in your neighborhood. It's like an inside scoop.
Oh, nice. But you know, I really wish you would have told us we were filming this today.
Ooh, did I not text you? All right. It's in my drafts. That's my bad.
So you slept in and you missed morning rush, huh? Well, here's what you missed. In my experience, good guys do finish last.
I consider myself a nice guy. I got the most beautiful woman in the world in my eyes.
You're a nice guy too,
Yeah.
Jesse.
I'm saying in my experience, when growing up, good guys didn't finish last.
Somebody broke his heart somewhere along the line.
We're here every weekday morning, so come on, hang out with us. Morning Rush, weekdays, 5 to 7 a.m., only on 11Alive.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11Alive today.
You didn't get my text? The whole crew got together for coffee this morning. I'm learning the taste of water, because I'm sugary.
Okay,
Right.
about that?
Well, reward would be
Slimming down. Okay,
Yes,
yeah,
okay.
a little water in my
yes.
cup.
And beautiful skin. You know, even more beautiful skin, you know, when it's all hydrated and everything else. I'm not going to be able to sit next to you in a few months.
Don't drink your morning coffee alone. Have it with us. Morning Rush, weekdays, 5 to 7 a.m., only on 11Alive.
Some mornings, what you want isn't what you have time for. And that's why there's the Rush Blog, the biggest news of the day in 5 minutes.
5 suspected members of the Ghostface gang now under arrest in a home invasion where a teen was killed. The sheriff's office revealing tonight that 14-year-old Haley Adams was shot after she tried to scare off the intruders with a BB gun. 11Alive's Latasha Gibbons spoke with investigators in Coweta County.
The sheriff released new details in this case, including the fact that one of the suspects is the stepbrother of the homeowner. Now, investigators say when the suspects initially arrived at the house, they were looking for their homeowner, but once they were inside, they only found Haley and her mother.
To have a 14-year-old girl, innocent girl, get shot like that, it hurts. It hurts hard.
Coweta County Sheriff Lynn Wood is talking about the tragic death of Haley Adams. The teen was shot and killed during a home invasion on February 11th. Investigators say 3 men and 1 woman forced their way in the house looking for the homeowner. Haley apparently hid in a closet while her mother was held at gunpoint by the suspects. But as they left the house, deputies say Haley came out of hiding and went to the front door with a BB gun.
When the guys were getting in the car, one of the ones leaving the house turned around and fired in toward the house, striking the girl as she was running away.
The girl and her mom had only been living at the home for about a week. One suspect was arrested last weekend. Investigators announced more arrests today.
So we have 5 people in custody now, 2 in Chattanooga, the other 3 are here. They all been charged with murder at this time, pending other charges.
Deputies haven't said what the motive was or who pulled the trigger.
All of them that we've arrested have been identified as part of the Ghostface gang.
Investigators also revealed today that one of the suspects in custody, William Tyree, is the stepbrother of the homeowner. Conley and Wicks had their first appearance before a judge this afternoon. Bond was denied for both. No word yet on when Ramsey or Brown will be extradited back to Georgia.
Well, now that the rain is gone, we've had this opportunity to dry out, but this drier air is also accompanied by some colder air as well. And you can see here what we're watching with that blue color indicating that colder air that we'll be experiencing tonight and early in the morning, starting off with temperatures in the upper 20s. But then we start to moderate a little bit as we go through the weekend. Tomorrow, you can see that green color, which is showing the warmer air that's going to start moving our way. Highs tomorrow will be in the 50s, and then we'll pretty much hold in the 50s for high temperatures temperatures on Sunday. And then we start to moderate a little bit more as we get toward the beginning of the week, with our high temperatures actually getting into the 60s here from Monday and Tuesday. But with that warm air in place, we're also going to have some moisture, giving us a better rain chance. But then look at the really cold air that's poised to come in from the north and west. That dives our way once we get toward the end of next week. I know this is a lot to soak in here with just this one map, so stay with us. We're going to break this all down for you in the 7-day outlook.
New reports are in today that President Trump got rid of his acting director of national intelligence after members of Congress were briefed that Russia is trying to interfere in the 2020 election. All of this to help him win re-election. The news comes while the president holds a campaign rally in Las Vegas. Alice Barr in Washington, she has the very latest.
With President Trump campaigning today in Las Vegas for another 4 years in office, there are new concerns over who else might be pushing for his victory. NBC News confirming U.S. intelligence officials warned lawmakers about Russian efforts to interfere in the 2020 election to help President Trump. Moscow denies it, and today the president's sounding off.
You know, they're trying to start a rumor. It's disinformation. That's the only thing they're good at.
A former intelligence official briefed on the matter, telling NBC News President Trump was so angry he kicked out his acting director of national intelligence, Joseph Maguire.
Senior people in the intelligence community may be thinking that if I give honest intelligence, that my career might suffer.
Richard Grenell, the U.S. ambassador to Germany and a fierce Trump supporter, temporarily posted in the top job. The president saying he'll name a permanent replacement soon. The story of the Russia briefing to the House Intelligence Committee was first reported by the New York Times, noting that President Trump was furious the information was shared with committee chair Adam Schiff. The Democrat who spearheaded the impeachment drive, tweeting today, if reports are true, the president is again jeopardizing our efforts to stop foreign meddling. And Bernie Sanders is responding to a Washington Post report that Russia is also trying to help his presidential campaign in the Democratic primaries. Sanders telling Russia to stay out of American elections.
They are trying to cause chaos. They're trying to cause hatred in America. It's an ugly business.
Sanders adding they did the same in 2016, and Americans have to unite to stop it in this election.
New on Primetime, a Forsyth County deputy comforts an injured dog for hours after rescuing her from a roadway. My News reporter Brittany Kleinkleeder has their story.
You could tell in her eyes that she wanted to be loved. So it was Monday morning, about 4 a.m. We received a call for a animal had been struck by a vehicle laying in the road. When we arrived on scene, we located a young, what we thought was a young German Shepherd.
Deputy Josh Day says as he got near the dog, she initially growled and tried to run away.
I realized it was wagging its tail as well, so I knew it wasn't an aggressive animal.
For 2 hours, Day stayed with the dog until animal services arrived. She was treated for a fracture and placed in a cast.
I did think about her a lot, knowing that nobody had claimed her and that I knew she was going to have an extensive recovery. Speaking to my wife about it, she actually asked me if I wanted to bring her home and asked me if I loved her. And I said, well, I do like her. She is 6 years old. I went to visit her in the animal hospital, and they were calling her Juliet. When I rescued my animal, or my German Shepherd, his name was Romeo, so I kind of knew it was a kind of a meant-to-be type deal.
And on Valentine's Day, Day would bring Juliet home to become the newest member of the family.
She hasn't got on the couch in the bed yet. She's still kind of having to stay in the kennel. I have to take her out with a sock on it so it don't get wet. She has to wear the cast for 5 more weeks, and I just hope she has a good rest of her life because she deserves it.
Here is a figure from the civil rights movement who is oftentimes overshadowed, and all of these years later, you do not hear a lot about the brother, the deceased brother of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Nick Sturdivant sat down with the Reverend A.D. King's wife to take a look back at his life and his legacy.
I would be remiss if I did not share with you.
More than 50 years after her husband's death, Naomi King continues to teach younger generations, not only about the issues of the day, the civil rights movement.
A lot of people did not know, and still do not know, that ML had a brother.
But the man also on the front lines of the movement, Reverend A.D. King.
We met at when we were like 12 and 13, and so I just can't think of a day of without him. I just cannot.
Naomi and A.D. married in 1950. She later attended the University of Alabama. She had a front row seat to her husband's work.
Whatever ML wanted done that he could not do, he would ask A.D. to do it, and A.D. would take it and do it in a heartbeat.
After graduating from Morehouse College in 1959, he went into the ministry, eventually taking over as pastor of First Baptist Church outside of Birmingham, Alabama. Then moving to Kentucky in the mid-60s to pastor another church. But he remained dedicated to his activist work. King's house in Birmingham was bombed in 1963 as a result of his activism, and he was regarded as one of the main strategists for the Selma demonstration. More than a year after his brother was killed, A.D.'s life would also end tragically.
I lost it because I said, drown? I said, well, A.D. was an excellent swimmer.
He was found at the bottom of the family swimming pool.
God simply said to me that A.D. did not drown. He was killed.
While his death continues to be a mystery, Naomi continues to keep his name alive. In 2008, she established the A.D. King Foundation.
He was funny, he was smart, he was just the utmost.
All right, now Naomi travels promoting youth and women empowerment and entrepreneurship as well. She's written books and been part of a documentary about her late husband's life. A bus driver frightened by road rage is shocked when she sees the other driver as a police officer. We're looking into his record.
I'm Francesca Amaker with the A-Scene. Atlanta rapper Lil Yachty has a new project in the works, and he's teaming up with a very special person in his life, his mother. I have the details for you coming up in the A-Scene.
He's learned how to drive, so I'm going to go ahead and retire.
It didn't last long. Crank up your morning rush with Crash Clark. Weekdays, 5 to 7 a.m. on 11Alive. Traffic brought to you by John Foy & Associates.
Atlanta is filled with great photo spots, and of course I would know because this is my hometown. I'm 11Alive's Francesca Amaker, and I'm about to show you my picks for the 3 best Instagram spots in Atlanta. The Outcast mural is one of Atlanta's newest hotspots. Created by the artist Jex, people flock from all over the world just to get a shot of these 2 hip-hop legends. News of the mural went viral when Big Boy himself gave a shout-out on Instagram. You can find it tucked away in a back parking lot in Little 5 Points. An Atlanta icon, ever-changing, always interesting. The Krog Street Tunnel is full of artwork from some pretty eclectic Atlanta artists.
Yeah, all we feel is good vibes. We vibe with it, it's a good time. We don't worry about the hate, we just pass it to the side.
There's graffiti, community messages, concert announcements. You really never know what you're gonna get here, and that's what makes it so special. You can find it between Cabbagetown and Inman Park. If you've never checked it out, it's a must-see. There are hundreds of works of art along the Beltline. I'm talking murals, sculptures, photography. This beautiful mural was created by the artist Hence. It's 100 feet long, and even though it was created in 2014, it still remains very popular to musicians and photographers alike. You can find it on the East Side Trail under Virginia Avenue. So let me know what you think. It doesn't have to be street art. Maybe your favorite spot is down the street from your home or a great view. Connect with me on Facebook and Instagram and share your favorite Instagram spots in Atlanta. And come hang out with me on Morning Rush, weekdays 5 to 7 a.m. on 11Alive.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11Alive today.
I haven't seen you in a while. Where you been?
It looks like fun.
They are fun.
And they're
convenient. But they're being dumped everywhere.
5,000 scooters at one time active throughout the city. I enjoy them myself. They're fun.
Yeah.
There's got to be some regulations.
I just feel like we have to evolve with the times, though. They're not going anywhere. They shouldn't go anywhere. It's a new way of transporting.
Yeah.
We have to evolve.
I'm going to be looking for you next time, so use the hashtag and let us know you're hanging out with us. Morning Rush, weekdays, 5 to 7 a.m.
You see them all day, every day. Headlines, stats, and numbers, but without context, they're just clickbait. So let's add some perspective. The three most interesting.
This is one of the most bizarre stories of the day. Watch this video here. A MARTA bus driver says she was horrified when an off-duty officer confronted her.
And now she wants that officer off the force. Natisha Lance spoke with her about what happened.
I was scared, frightened for my life.
MARTA bus driver Rosemary Holliday says she hasn't been the same since last November. That's when an off-duty APD officer swerved around her bus, coming to an abrupt stop in the middle of a busy road.
I thought I was going to get a ticket.
She didn't think Officer Aaron Swan, still in uniform, would jump out of his car, grab his gun, and curse her out.
I was shocked when I seen him get the weapon, as was the passengers.
We feel this officer should be fired.
Holliday and community activist Marcus Coleman met with Atlanta Police Chief Erica Shields Thursday to make that request.
And I want to thank Chief Shields for her apology to me.
Officer Swan has been with the department since 2011. In that time, he's had at least 10 disciplinary actions taken against him, including for suspensions and for vehicle accidents.
But he should not be allowed to work in this state again.
The Atlanta Police Department told us in a statement that the officer has been relieved of duty and is on administrative assignment. Cole says he's planning a police accountability and community town hall with Chief Shields and other members of the Atlanta Police Department.
We had a chilly start this morning. Temperatures here in Atlanta stayed just above freezing here in the city at 34. But outside the city, we did have a lot of areas that did make it down to freezing. We didn't have a lot of reports here in metro Atlanta of black ice around. That was mainly up in North Georgia. And then with all that sunshine today, we managed to make it up into the upper 40s, 48 degrees. That sounds great with that sunshine. But just know that was still 10 degrees below the average. We should be around 58 for this time of year. And as far as rainfall, only 1/100th of an inch of rain. That was today or since midnight. But look at this surplus. We are almost 10 inches above average in rainfall so far for the year. So we can afford to dry out a little bit today and also dry out a little bit as we head into the weekend, because it is going to be a dry weekend. We'll see mostly sunny skies here for Saturday, but Sunday a few more clouds will start to build in. It's not going to give us any rain. That rain will hold off until next week. And we'll also see temperatures gradually warming up. It's going to be a really cold start in the morning, though, at 29. We get up into the mid and upper 50s for highs tomorrow, and then upper 50s on Sunday, and then 60 degrees once we get into Monday, and even warmer here on Tuesday. But with that warmer air coming in, we'll also have some rain that'll be moving our way too. So starting off at 29 in the morning, we get up to 57 in the afternoon. On our scale from 1 to 11, where an 11 is a perfect day, we're going to go with a 10. Mostly sunny skies, looking great. Enjoy, soak up that sunshine, because once we get into Sunday, we're not going to see as much of that sun. So here's the dry weather here for your Saturday. Plenty of sunshine, maybe just a couple of clouds mixing in late in the afternoon. And then on Sunday, there's that increase in our cloud cover. But the good thing is, with these clouds on Sunday, they're not going to be rain producers. They're just going to block out the sunshine at times. Eventually, though, these clouds will thicken up. We'll have more moisture content with them. And on Monday, we'll see the rain chances up in North Georgia spreading in here during the afternoon hours, especially on Monday. And then that's going to stick with us on Tuesday and even for part of Wednesday as well. So take a look at that 7-day outlook. We will be dry for the weekend. Mostly sunny Saturday, but a few more clouds on Sunday. That low Saturday at 29 in the morning. We get up to 57 in the afternoon, and then 33 to start the day on Sunday with a high of 59. Here comes the rain heading into next week on Monday. 70% chance for showers. We warm up to 60 degrees, and then 67 on Tuesday with the rain chance at about 50%. Still a few showers lingering until Wednesday, but those rain showers will diminish, we think, earlier in the day, and then temperatures start to drop again. We go from 67 Tuesday to 58 for a high on Wednesday, and then look at that, Thursday morning down to 34 with a high only in the 40s with decreasing clouds. Mostly sunny for the end of next week on Friday. Low temperatures, though, below freezing at 29 with high temperatures that only make it into the upper 40s.
All right, folks, you know what time it is. You see your screen. It is time for Friday's edition of the A Scene, and we are kicking off with a huge congratulations to Atlanta's very own rapper Lil Yachty and his mother, Vanita McCullum. Guess what? They just launched a very big project together, and I bet you can't guess what it is.
Later, I had something, now I'm in the game. Went from fake chains to diamonds in another lane. Went from king, take me here to screen out the lane.
Look at him now. 4 years ago, Lil Yachty was telling his mother that he had huge dreams bigger than where he was, and he quickly became one of the nation's biggest rappers with hits like I Spy with My Little Eye. And now look, he has helped his mother launch a book called Raising a Rapper, and it was welcomed with open arms by VIP guests and music industry executives earlier this week. Now, in her debut book, his mother shares an inside look into her son's journey from the college dorm room to the Forbes list in just 2 years, and even hits on topics that parents may not think of when they're raising their young star about the importance of parental support, legal decisions, finances, and so much more. Raising a Rapper, out now. And calling all plus-size models, how would you like to be the face of Ashley Stewart's latest plus-size modeling campaign? That'd be cool, right? The casting call is going down this Saturday, Camp Creek Marketplace, 11:30 a.m. And guess what? The first 75 guests will get an Ashley Stewart gift bag. The winner will get flown to New York City and have a fabulous photo shoot for their new line. Just show up on Saturday and be ready to strut your stuff for Ashley Stewart. And remember the kid rapper Young Dylan that we all fell in love with when we watched the Ellen DeGeneres show? Well, we since told you that, Tyler Perry loved his story so much that he decided to create a show after him. Well, they just dropped this poster teasing us for the big air date. The series follows a family whose world is turned upside down when their nephew, Young Dylan, played by Dylan Gilmer, an aspiring hip-hop star, moves in unannounced. And the show was produced by, written by Tyler Perry, of course, and shot at his studios. It'll air on Nickelodeon on Saturday, February 29th, the big premiere at 8:30 p.m. Make sure to support.
Trapped in China, a high school teacher from Fort Valley describes what it's like near the epicenter of all of this. She can't leave.
Atlanta is filled with great photo spots, and of course I would know because this is my hometown. I'm 11Alive's Francesca Amaker, and I'm about to show you my picks for the 3 best Instagram spots in Atlanta. The Outcast mural is one of Atlanta's newest hotspots. Created by the artist Jex, people flock from all over the world just to get a shot of these 2 hip-hop legends. News of the mural went viral when Big Boy himself gave a shout out on Instagram. You can find it tucked away in a back parking lot in Little 5 Points. An Atlanta icon, ever-changing, always interesting. The Krog Street Tunnel is full of artwork from some pretty eclectic Atlanta artists.
Yeah, all we feel is good vibes. We vibe with it, it's a good time. We don't worry about the hate, we just pass it to the side.
There's graffiti, community messages, concert announcements. You really never know what you're gonna get here, and that's what makes it so special. You can find it between Cabbagetown and Inman Park. If you've never checked it out, it's a must-see. There are hundreds of works of art along the Beltline. I'm talking murals, sculptures, photography. This beautiful mural was created by the artist Hints. It's 100 feet long, and even though it was created in 2014, it still remains very popular to musicians and photographers alike. You can find it on the East Side Trail under Virginia Avenue. So let me know what you think. It doesn't have to be street art. Maybe your favorite spot is down the street from your home or a great view. Connect with me on Facebook and Instagram and share your favorite Instagram spots in Atlanta. And come hang out with me on Morning Rush, weekdays 5 to 7 a.m. on 11Alive. Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage,
live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11Alive today.
I haven't seen you in a while. Where you been?
It looks like fun.
They are fun.
And they're
convenient. But they're being dumped everywhere.
5,000 scooters at one time active throughout the city. I enjoy them myself. They're fun. There's got to be some regulations.
I just feel like we have to evolve with the times, though. They're not going anywhere. They shouldn't go anywhere. It's a new way of transporting. We have to evolve.
I'm going to be looking for you next time, so use the hashtag and let us know you're hanging out with us. Morning Rush, weekdays, 5 to 7 a.m.
You see them all day, every day. Headlines, stats, and numbers, but without context, they're just clickbait. So let's add some perspective. The 3 most interesting numbers of the day, what they mean, and why they're important. News and numbers on Up Late.
What's the best part about
Your voice, it is never too loud or too much. Your voice has the power to tell.
The coronavirus causing major concerns everywhere around the world. And today, China reported more than 75,000 cases. 2,200 people have died worldwide, the vast majority, of course, in China. And now there's growing concern in other quadrants of Asia, including South Korea. Today, that country announced 200 people have been infected. That's 4 times more than just 48 hours ago.
And while the coronavirus continues to spread in China, one Georgia family is desperately trying to get out. Davina Jackson and her 2 children live in Beijing, China. She calls Fort Valley, Georgia home, though. Jackson is currently working as a high school teacher overseas. She says the coronavirus outbreak has devastated the city. Stores are closed and her family's been trapped inside their apartment for days. She says the virus is impacting everyone around her, and now she's afraid to even work.
I told them, I'm not coming to work. I have 2 children at home to take care of. If I get sick, they get sick. I'm all the way in China. Who's going to take care of my kids if something happens to me? And God forbid something happens to them because I decided to go to work.
And now Davina says that she has reached out to the American Embassy in China, but she says she was told they cannot help. And she says it's hard not to let this stress impact her family.
My children are okay because they don't know what's really going on. They know that there's a virus, but I'm just trying to keep them having a normal schedule, normal life as possible, but I really need help. I don't want to be here. I don't feel safe. We are not safe. We are being lied to. They're saying that it's safe and that I can come to work. It's not safe.
So the only way that she can fly to the U.S. is through Korea or Thailand. Ticket prices right now, they're going crazy, absolutely wild. You're talking about as much as $3,000 a ticket. You know, you can't afford that.
Yeah, there is a link, though, to her family's GoFundMe on our website, 11alive.com, for anyone who wants to help out with those costs.
Let's hope it works out for her. That's
We'll be right back.
On 11 Alive.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11Alive today.
Babe, where are my keys?
Where's my lunch?
Where's my phone? Hey, where's my blue shirt?
Where's my pen? Have you seen it?
Everybody has learned how to drive, so I'm going to go ahead and retire.
It didn't last long. Crank up your morning rush with Crash Clark. Weekdays, 5 to 7 a.m. on 11Alive. Traffic brought to you by John Foy & Associates.
I woke up at 2 in the morning to be here. Where were you?
Once you allow it, right, then it sets you up for the entire week where you just have lost it.
Like on a Sunday, it's like, oh, let's just order some Chinese food. And of course, you wind up eating tons of that. And then on Monday, you're like, well, I got leftovers. I can't let it go to waste.
Auntie wants to give you a plate to take home from the barbecue.
Auntie.
No.
Auntie, don't invite me to the barbecue.
I'm going to be looking for you next time, so use the hashtag and let us know you're hanging out with us. Morning Rush, weekdays, 5 to 7 a.m., only on 11Alive.
The 11Alive app is your go-to source for all things Atlanta.
You hear what happened today? I'll tell you all about it.
Breaking news the moment it happens.
The boil water advisory.
Hyper-local, accurate weather alerts.
You may want to grab that sweater, maybe even a coat.
More stories to uncover. More videos to discover.
He did it his way.
Personalized for you.
And that's what makes it so special.
The 11Alive app. Available now in the App Store.
Hey, I got the ways to go. I got moves to make, homie, but I stay in the flow. So y'all just do what I say.
Oh, and so I was saying, there is always something filming here in Atlanta. From movies to TV shows, you name it. And so the A scene keeps up with all of it for you. Casting calls, which big celebrities are in town, what's filming, and if it's in your neighborhood. It's like an inside scoop.
Oh, nice. But you know, I really wish you would have told us we were filming this today.
Ooh, did I not text you? All right. Ah, it's in my drafts. That's my bad.
Well, they are fast, high-flying, and getting more and more popular every day. We're talking about drones that carry cameras, and they can be a fun way to get a bird's-eye view of the city or different events.
It's a crazy kind of sport, right? And apparently it's on ESPN as well. In this week's ATL in 60, we take you to the Drone Racing Club of Atlanta. Here goes.
These things really scream. Something you can buy at Best Buy probably tops out at like 40 miles an hour. Oh, these will do 100 miles an hour almost instantaneously. Drone racing is kind of a new and exciting sport slash hobby.
I can do one on.
Well, most people think of drones as what they buy from Best Buy, like a DJI product or something like that. We built these. Those are very stable. They're very easy to fly. They kind of fly right out of the box. And they also don't have any stability. They can hang upside down for a while. They can fly sideways. If we stop flying, they just fall off the ground. So that's what makes it fun, but also challenging. The video game generation is very good at this. The fastest pilot in the world that I know of is 16 years old. Sort of the feeling of flying is kind of addicting, and I think that's what most people would say.
Who knew?
Wow, how about that?
I had no idea. I kind of feel like insects are.
That's what I felt like I needed to hit the deck.
I think it would be great for Crash Clark, you know, covering his traffic. It just kind of sends his drones out there.
That makes sense.
Check out 85, come right back.
I like it.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
Away from people.
Away
That's
from
fine.
people. Don't hurt people.
And airliners.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, guys, thanks a lot. As you know, folks, it's almost 9 o'clock. We have a lot coming up on Primetime News. They've been labeled cheaters and dismissed from the Department of Public Safety. Now one of the fire troopers is firing back, saying he was just doing what he was told.
And all he wanted after his home burned down was his badge and ring. Now his family is holding out hope for one more miracle.
11Alive News Primetime on the ATL starts now.
First tonight, we're going to continue following that breaking news out of Gwinnett County. Police have found the body of a man involved in a carjacking and a shootout with officers.
Yeah, investigators say he drove into Lake Lanier where he kept firing at police as the car was sinking. 11Alive's Elwin Lopez is at the scene where it all came to a dramatic end today. Sounds like a movie. She joins us with new details about how it all played out. Elwin?
Yeah, it sure does sound like a movie, guys. And we're at Peachtree Industrial Boulevard and Shadburn Ferry Road, where police say that just after 4:15 p.m., a man got into an accident here and got out of the car with what seemed to be some sort of AK-style rifle. Then police heard gunshots not too far from here and say that that's when they realized that the suspect had carjacked a vehicle. That suspect then, according to police, drove through Shoal Creek's Park and crashed into a lake. Police say that that's when the suspect started shooting at the officers. The officers then returned fire, and divers went in and found the man's body near that car. Now, police telling us tonight that no officers were injured. They did tell us, however, that the people involved in that original accident had some minor injuries, but nothing to be concerned about. And currently, this is still under investigation, but we'll stay here on the scene and provide you with any updates as we get them.
All right, Elwin, thanks a lot for the update there. The boyfriend of the missing college student is now charged with murder. The GBI made that announcement late this afternoon. DeMarcus Little has been the only person of interest in Anitra Gunn's death. Her body was found Tuesday in the woods just a few miles away from Fort Valley State's campus. The cause of the death is still pending the outcome of the autopsy.
We followed the leads, we followed the evidence, and the evidence led us to this, but it took it a minute to develop.
Well, the task force did not give any details on what evidence that actually led them to that conclusion. The news of Little's charge came just hours after he was granted bond. He's accused of damaging Gunn's car just days before she disappeared. He did not post bond before the arrest warrant was issued for murder. He is expected to have another court appearance for the new charge in the coming days. Gunn was a senior at Fort Valley State. The Atlanta native graduated from Westlake High School in 2016.
I'm meteorologist Chris Holcomb from the 11Alive Storm Trackers. Can you believe it's a Friday night? We're in a quiet weather pattern, and I have just under 400 people on Facebook Live right now, folks who are anxious to hear what is going to be happening over the weekend and talking about this cold air. In fact, Wanda Newbold says she's watching from Douglasville. Dale Klaus says hello to everybody. We have a lot of people like in Houston watching, at Woodstock. Let's see, Pam Bates says Burr in Douglasville. You are right. It is not only Burr or cold in Douglasville, but it's cold in a lot of places. Take a look at these temperatures. Let's take a look at the bigger picture here, and you can see what we've got going on with temperatures in Atlanta at 41 degrees. Look over in Athens, though, some cooler air to the east where it's 33 already in Athens. In Covington, you're already at freezing at 32. Carrollton's 34. More of these 30s on the north side. Even Blairsville at this hour coming in at 29. We have a wide range of temperatures out there tonight with that clear sky. Some folks are cooling off faster than others. In fact, Atlanta, we're one of the warmer spots there in the 40s. I do think that this hour we're going to see those temperatures falling and then into the 30s as we go through the rest of the night, and then freezing and below during the overnight hours, and even some upper 20s here in the morning with that clear sky with plenty of sunshine around. So here's what we're watching with your weather headlines. We have a dry weekend in store for us with some gradual warming, but rain is going to return next week. Stay with us. We'll kind of time that all out for you coming up on the 7-Day Outlook.
All right, Chris, we'll see you soon. Police say they've caught one person involved in the shooting at Lenox Square, but they're still looking for another. It tops our speed feed tonight. Police say a man was shot last week behind Bloomingdale's after arranging to meet someone in the parking lot. The victim survived, but the suspects got away. Well, today, police revealed they've arrested Shakiria King. Police say they know who the second suspect is, but they're not revealing that person's name just yet. Coca-Cola has reason to be concerned about the ongoing coronavirus threat. Coke is based here in Atlanta, but China, where the virus originated, is the company's third largest market in the world. Executives say that means COVID-19 is going to hit Coke sales and profits. However, according to the Atlanta Business Chronicle, Coke executives still expect to hit their goals for the year. The company says it's also taking extra precautions to protect employees in China. It has installed temperature screening and will provide health monitoring services. A much-needed clinic is improving access to health care for people along Atlanta's Beltline. Wellstar held a ribbon cutting today for a new primary care office on DeKalb Avenue near Cabbagetown. Almost 16% of Georgians under age 65 are uninsured. Now, that's according to the U.S. Census Bureau. The 7,500 square foot office will accept walk-in patients and scheduled appointments 7 days a week.
You know, they were fired for cheating on the state trooper exam, and now one of those troopers, former troopers, is coming forward, alleging they were just doing what they were told to do. He and his attorney want Governor Brian Kemp to give the 30 fired troopers another chance. 11Alive's Deborah Tuff spoke to the attorney today.
Basically, 27 young state troopers who had not cheated just got called cheaters and lost their job.
In January, 30 members of the 106 trooper graduating class fired for cheating on exams. Trooper Christopher Cordell's attorney, McCracken Poston, says the radar gun exam was so hard the two class leaders failed. Poston alleges failure was not an option for the other troopers in the class.
So when their instructor said, here's how you take this exam, use all of your resources, talk to people who have taken it before, they thought that was a normal instruction.
Poston says the two cadets who failed first should have been kicked out of the program. Instead, he says they were allowed to retake the test. He says another trooper is accused of having his girlfriend take the test for him online. But Poston says the other fired troopers were merely following instructions.
Taking the exam together. An instructor walks right through them.
Now he wants Governor Kemp to allow that group to retake the test in the classroom setting. He believes the governor didn't know the entire story before everyone was fired.
My client has a 9-year-old son. It is breaking his heart that his son has to hear that in the media, that his dad's a cheater. And that's just not right.
We should also point out that we did not hear back when we reached out to the Department of Public Safety today. The department previously said that the troopers shared answers in a private Snapchat and also talked about making sure their stories were all straight, that it was a conspiracy. Well, the department is now conducting an audit to see if the cheating went beyond just this class, maybe previous classes. So far, the fallout has cost the department nearly $2 million, with the public safety commissioner and deputy commissioner both resigning.
It is one of the most infamous murder cases in Metro Atlanta, and now the murderer is up for parole, and the family of the victim, Emory University sophomore Shannon Melendi, is fighting to keep him in prison. John Sherrick joins us, and John, you talked with the family, and this really is another trauma for the family.
It's like the murder trial all over again, waiting for the State Board of Pardons and Paroles to make a decision as to whether they're going to release Hinton. It was in 2005 in DeKalb County when Butch Hinton was convicted of murdering Shannon Melendi and sentenced to life in prison. After the conviction, Hinton confessed, admitting he's the one who kidnapped Shannon at a softball park back in 1994 when she was a 19-year-old Emory University sophomore. He raped her and strangled her. He claimed he burned her body in his backyard. How can any family, how can Shannon Melendi's family process any of that, along with their grief at losing the light of their lives? Prosecutors say that back then they wanted Hinton sentenced to life without parole, but that it was not an option for them in this case. So every 7 or 8 years, Hinton comes up for parole, and the Melendis have to wage a fight to try to convince the paroles board to keep Hinton in prison.
Shannon is dead forever, and he should be in prison forever.
He does have a sliver of hope. He shouldn't have any hope at all.
John, it's really an enduring anguish for the family. They fight, and then they wait for the state's decision.
Anguish and hope, and they have mounted a letter-writing campaign, a petition drive to try to help convince the board not to free Hinton.
I'm curious, how often does the parole board release a life for someone who had been sentenced to life?
Every year, but the board denies parole to 90% or more of the lifers who are eligible. But inmates like Hinton can keep coming back. The Melendis figure Hinton will outlive them in prison, so they have a plan to keep fighting his release after they're gone.
You just think that's something no parent should ever have to do, and here they are. All right, I know you're going to have a lot more tonight up late at 11 and more online at 11alive.com. John, thanks.
Still ahead, Georgia football secures the top recruiting class in the country. Now, earning that distinction doesn't come cheap. We're making sense of the dollars spent. See what we did there? It's coming up after the break.
Also straight ahead, well, happening right now as we speak, Chief Meteorologist Chris Holcomb is live on Facebook. There he is. He's taking all your weather questions. You can join that conversation right now on his Facebook page. We are going to catch up with him after the break.
Yeah, people want to know what to plan for the weekend. And don't forget, we're streaming right now on the 11Alive YouTube channel. You can subscribe and join the conversation right there in the community section. And we've got more 11Alive news in primetime right after the break.
There are hundreds of works of art along the Beltline. I'm talking murals, sculptures, photography. This beautiful mural was created by the artist Hence. It's 100 feet long, and even though it was created in 2014, it still remains very popular to musicians and photographers alike. You can find it on the East Side Trail under Virginia Avenue. So let me know what you think. It doesn't have to be street art. Maybe your favorite spot is down the street from your home or a great view. Connect with me on Facebook and Instagram and share your favorite Instagram spots in Atlanta. And come hang out with me on Morning Rush, weekdays 5 to 7 a.m. on 11Alive.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11Alive today.
I haven't seen you in a while. Where you been?
It looks like fun.
They are fun.
And they're
convenient. But they're being dumped everywhere.
5,000 scooters at one time active throughout the city. I enjoy them myself. They're fun. There's got to be some regulations.
I just feel like we have to evolve with the times, though. They're not going anywhere. They shouldn't go anywhere. It's a new way of transporting. We have to evolve.
I'm going to be looking for you next time, so use the hashtag and let us know you're hanging out with us. Morning Rush, weekdays 5 to
Well, you know, the Georgia Bulldogs, they want a national championship.
Yes, they are sick of coming this close.
I mean, like decades. It's
Yes.
been 40 years. So on signing day earlier this month, UGA solidified another #1 ranked recruiting class. The team brought in some serious talent to help reach that goal, hopefully.
Yeah, and let me tell you, it is not cheap to land top talent. Football is big business, as we know in the South. Jennifer Bellamy has a look at how much the #1 recruiting class cost Dogs Nation.
Georgia's keeping its eye on the ball when it comes to recruiting, and the university is making sure Coach Kirby Smart has the tools needed to maintain its status as a powerhouse in college football. Charter flights and other transportation, lodging, meals, phone calls, maybe even visiting multiple athletes in different locations within the same day. According to our partners at the Atlanta Business Chronicle, it all adds up to Georgia leading the nation in recruitment spending. They found Georgia's last financial report shows the Dogs spent about $3.7 million on recruiting in the 2019 fiscal year, putting the school well above even Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide, which spent $2.6 million. Georgia Athletic Director Greg McGarity says it's hard to compare team recruitment spending because Georgia doesn't have its own aircraft, which forces the team to pay extra to lease a jet through a third party for recruiting visits. Still, he says the costs are needed to maintain the program's standards and to remain competitive, saying the school does what it needs to do to support the football program in all areas, noting the number of players signed from outside the state is a result of more national recruiting. For those counting, that's 17 players out of 25 not from Georgia, following 18 last year, according to Rivals.com. Georgia's not alone. Football programs across the country are spending more, but it's an upward trend for the Dogs. 2019's $3.7 million follows $2.6 million in 2018 and $2.2 million in 2016.
All right, well, this could be the year. So if you're wondering what else is in store for the Dogs, well, the school recently started work on an $80 million expansion for its football facility.
And hopefully this works. So that's after a $63 million renovation of the west end zone at Sanford Stadium and the building of a $30 million indoor practice facility. Now, the Dogs return to action September 7th, taking on Virginia inside Mercedes-Benz Stadium, just under 200 days away.
All right, counting down, mark the calendar.
I'm meteorologist Chris Holcomb from the 11Alive Storm Trackers. You see my phone propped up right here, still doing a Facebook Live at Chris Holcomb 11Alive on Facebook. So if you're on the ATL right now, head over to my page and you'll be able to hear and see what folks are talking about there, and we'll answer some more questions after I finish this weathercast. In fact, Diana Murphy says, we appreciate you, Chris. Thank you. Well, thank you. I appreciate everybody who is watching not only on Facebook, but also here on the ATL on a Friday night. All right, let's take a look at radar, and go ahead and take a look at this on the big picture, because I want to show you this, because we're celebrating. You know why we're celebrating? Because this radar image is showing nothing. Our radar has been working overtime, it seems, scanning and picking up all of those echoes here from the reflectivity of the rain that we've been dealing with for the past few days. But now, nothing going on a Friday night. We have the drier air that is moving in, and thank goodness. It is going to stay dry for the weekend, too. In fact, as we zoom out a little bit, you can see that the whole southeast is dry. We just have some showers here off the coast of Florida. Those are not going to be impacting us, and nothing is moving our way. So it's going to be a dry day tomorrow, also a day tomorrow with plenty of sunshine around. Here are the temperatures. It is cooling down, and some places are cooling off faster than others. We're at 41 here in Atlanta. We often talk about Atlanta being the urban heat island. Here in the city, we have a lot of buildings, a lot of concrete still holding on to some of the heat of the day. So it takes that heat a little while longer to radiate out versus folks in the outlying areas where it's cooling off a lot faster. And we see these wide ranges of temperatures a lot of times with the clear skies. In fact, Athens, close to freezing right now at 33, Covington's 32, 39 in Duluth and Gainesville, 29 though in Blairsville. And even on the south side, we have some cooler air, 35 in LaGrange, 37 in Peachtree City, and 34 in Carrollton. So we have these temperatures that will be falling throughout the rest of the nighttime hours. I think that just after midnight here in town, we'll hit the freezing mark and then go below freezing for a few hours, down into the upper 20s here early in the morning. And then once the sun comes up, the warm up will begin, and we'll see some pretty big jumps from hour to hour. It's up to 33 at 9, and then moving up even higher than that throughout the rest of the morning hours and into the afternoon, eventually topping off at 57. Plenty of sunshine, dry air in place. On our scale from 1 to 11, where an 11 is a perfect day, we're going to go with a 10 on the wazometer. Soak it up, because some changes come in on Sunday, but Still, it will be dry. We're just going to see a few more clouds that'll build in. Here's the forecast track. Saturday in the afternoon, mostly sunny, maybe just a couple little clouds that'll fly by. And then more clouds start to build in on Sunday. We may even wake up on Sunday morning to this coverage of clouds. I think these will be thinner clouds, though, in the upper levels, that the sun will still be able to kind of come through but filtered. And then at times during the day, those clouds will thicken up a little bit more, blocking out more of that sunshine. This is at 5 o'clock. But the thing I want you to see, these clouds are not producing any rain yet. That eventually will come in on Monday in the morning up in North Georgia. And then later on in the day, watch this moisture coming in from the west. This is at 5:30 in the afternoon, and we'll see a better coverage of rain later on Monday. That's going to linger into Tuesday as well. So the weekend will be dry, mostly sunny, and then we have more clouds that'll be pushing our way once we get into Sunday. And then the rain moves in Monday, 70% chance for that, with temperatures around 60. We're even warmer on Tuesday, up to 67 degrees, with about a 50% chance for showers. And then the rain chances going down on Wednesday at 30%, and we start to cool off, 58 for a high Wednesday, and then even colder Thursday and Friday, with a mixture of sunshine and clouds and high temperatures that will return back to those upper 40s.
A Bartow County deputy and his family are homeless after a fire destroyed their home. Amid the ashes, they were able to find 2 prized possessions. Now they're praying for one more small stroke of luck. It ties back to how they escaped the fire. Our Caitlin Ross spoke with the Bird family today.
It was their dogs that saved them. The Bird family says before their smoke alarms even started going off, it was their dogs that alerted them there was a fire inside the house. Now that they're left with nothing, they say they want to do everything they can to help their animals.
It was terrifying. By the time I got out of the home, like, my clothes were smoking from just having to go through the fire. Part of my hair was singed.
Melody Bird barely made it out of her home February 6th. Many of her animals never did.
Just lost 2 dogs and 4 cats and everything we own.
She was able to save 2 of her cats that she pulled out of the house. The fire department tried to save the rest.
I can't say enough good things about the Rome Fire Department, all the first responders in Floyd County that came and helped. They repeatedly went in that house to find my animals.
The home burned quickly and barely anything was left. Her husband, a Bartow County Sheriff's deputy who's on dialysis, asked if she would go back and look through the ashes.
He doesn't ask for much, and he works hard, and he asked if I could see if I could find his badge, his police badge, and his wedding ring. And within a few minutes, out of the ashes came the 2 items that he asked for. And that was a blessing.
Now, she says she needs a blessing for 2 of her animals that escaped, Storm and Rainy. She saved the sisters from an abusive home last year.
I just need a rescue or some family that can give them a home, because we don't have a home right now. And I love those dogs enough to let them go because I want better for them.
She set up an email address for anyone willing to help, adoptstormandrainy@gmail.com. She wants them to have the life they deserve.
I saved them, and then they saved me.
A friend of theirs did start a fundraiser to help the Bird family rebuild and to help their animals. If you want to donate, we put that link on our website, 11alive.com.
A new bill wants to save our sandwiches. Why advocates say it could help feed children during the summer when they don't have any other options.
Atlanta, and come hang out with me on Morning Rush, weekdays 5 to 7 a.m. on 11Alive.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11Alive today.
I haven't seen you in a while. Where you been?
It looks like fun.
They are fun.
And they're convenient.
But they're being dumped everywhere.
5,000 scooters at one time active throughout the city. I enjoy them myself. They're fun. There's got to be some regulations.
I just feel like we have to evolve with the times, though. They're not going anywhere. They shouldn't go anywhere. It's a new way of transporting. We have to evolve.
I'm going to be looking for you next time, so use the hashtag and let us know you're hanging out with us. Morning Rush, weekdays 5 to 7 a.m.
You see them all day, every day. Headlines, stats, and numbers, but without context, they're just clickbait. So let's add some perspective. The 3 most interesting numbers of the day, what they mean, and why they're important. News and numbers on Up Late.
What's the best part about
Your voice, it is never too loud or too much. Your voice has the power to tell it like it is.
Bringing us together to act.
Together, our voices grow. Together, we come alive, amplifying voices and breaking down barriers to change the story and shape the future. Together, we are unstoppable. Together, we are where Atlanta speaks.
Remember the old days, the old cliffhangers when we used to watch shows?
Hey,
and they
cliffhangers.
would, you know, they would wait the next week. You were, oh, what's going to happen to the $6 million man? He was hanging with his one bionic arm.
Morning Rush, weekdays 5 to 7 a.m. only on 11Alive.
Atlanta. Almost 6 million people call the Metro home. But what makes this place so great? I'm 11Alive's Chesley McNeil. I'm going to give you 3 reasons why Atlanta is the best city in America. Come on, man. It's the heart of the South. And it's one of the most diverse cities around. People from all walks of life have come here and made it home. From different backgrounds, languages, and religions. And who can forget about the food? They all make this a cultural melting pot, full of great people and Southern hospitality. Atlanta's rich history is unmatched, known as the cradle of the civil rights movement.
SOS Save Our Sandwiches. That's the name of a new bipartisan bill quickly moving through the Georgia legislature.
That's right. So the driving force behind this bill would one nonprofit's program for the needy that was cut off over the summer. So last summer, Musk Ministries was told that it could no longer accept donations of homemade sandwiches for its summer lunch program. The charity had provided lunches for up to 7,000 children in 7 counties every single day of the summer during the summer break for 24 years. Now, it was all made possible by volunteers who made the delivered snack lunches.
Well, that's until the health department got a tip about the program. It told the charity it would have to find another way to get the food. And it's all because current state law doesn't allow volunteers to make sandwiches in kitchens that aren't state certified or supervised. Musk Ministries soon learned the only way around the law is to change it.
Whether you're a Republican or whether you're a Democrat, everybody is concerned about children. And so everybody's been looking and coming to us from different political parties saying, we want to help you.
And state lawmakers are doing just that. Now, a new state Senate bill sponsored by Senator Kay Kirkpatrick from Cobb County aims to eliminate the restrictions that crippled the program. It will allow nonprofits like Musk Ministries to be exempt from rules that apply to other food establishments. It comes with the condition that they have a permit from local government ensuring food is prepared safely and hygienically.
So the bill called Save Our Lunches or Sandwiches bill has already passed every single hurdle almost unanimously, and just yesterday it cleared the Senate and now heads to the House. So it passed and signed by Governor Brian Kemp. It would take effect immediately to ensure Musk Ministries will have time to plan for these summer sandwich programs.
And if the law doesn't pass, Musk Ministries hopes to get their kitchen state certified so that they can continue to make those sandwiches under the current law for those students who so need it.
All right, straight ahead, 11Alive's investigative team, The Reveal, has come across a lot of cases where judges handed down harsh sentences. Well, this time, they found a judge who's being accused of being way too soft, even when it comes to serious crimes like domestic abuse.
Breaking news the moment it happens.
The boil water advisory.
Hyper-local, accurate weather alert.
You may want to grab that sweater, maybe even a coat.
More stories to uncover. More videos to discover.
He did it his way.
Personalized for you.
And that's what makes it so special.
The 11Alive app. Available now in the App Store.
Hey, I got the ways to go. I got moves to make, homie, but I stay in the flow. See, I just do what I say I'm gonna do. No, movement ain't fading. You could assume what you're doing was great.
Oh, and so I was saying, there is always something filming here in Atlanta. From movies to TV shows, you name it. And so the A Scene keeps up with all of it for you. Casting calls, which big celebrities are in town, what's filming, and if it's in your neighborhood. It's like an inside scoop.
Oh, nice. But you know, I really wish you would have told us we were filming this today.
Ooh, did I not text you? All right. Ah, it's in my drafts. That's my bad.
So you slept in and you missed Morning Rush, huh? Well, here's what you missed.
In my experience, good guys do finish last.
Stop. I consider myself a nice guy. I've got the most beautiful woman in the world in my eyes.
You're a nice guy too,
Yeah.
Jess.
I'm saying in my experience, when growing up, good guys didn't finish last.
Somebody broke his heart somewhere along the line.
We're here every weekday morning, so come on, hang out with us. Morning Rush, weekdays, 5 to 7 a.m., only on 11Alive.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11Alive today.
You didn't get my text? The whole crew got together for coffee this morning.
I'm learning the taste of water because I'm sugary.
Okay,
Right.
About that.
Reward would be
Slimming down. Okay.
Yes.
Right? Yeah, a little water in my cup.
And beautiful skin. You know, even more beautiful skin, you know, when it's all hydrated and everything else. I'm not gonna be able to sit next to you in a few months.
Don't drink your morning coffee alone. Have it with us. Morning Rush, weekdays, 5 to 7 a.m., only on 11Alive.
Some mornings, what you want isn't what you have time for. And that's why there's the Rush Blog, the biggest news of the day in 5 minutes or less. Quick and convenient for all those hectic mornings. Catch the Rush Blog on the Morning Rush.
Everybody has learned how to drive, so I'm going to go ahead and retire.
It didn't last long. Crank up your
Welcome to the Review on Primetime. I'm investigative reporter Andy Perotti. Tonight, a Review investigation uncovers a Georgia judge accused of handing down lenient sentences for serious crimes, in some cases not following state-required guidelines. In one case, it involves a repeat domestic violent offender who nearly killed his wife.
Cherokee 911, address of your emergency. I think I've got a victim of a domestic dispute in my parking lot. She's got 2 black eyes.
Wendy Jo Simpkins waits for an ambulance inside her SUV after her husband beat her inside their Cherokee County home in 2018. The injuries even shocking a deputy. Oh,
What did he hit you with?
That's all I can remember. I guess the whole time I just kept thinking I wanted to stop. That's all I kept saying to myself in my head.
A short time later, investigators arrest her husband, David Kemp.
You have the right to remain silent.
And on July 31st, 2019, a judge sentenced Kemp to 40 years in prison. Stephanie Woodard is Hall County's Solicitor General and chair of Georgia's Commission on Family Violence.
This is a case that shocks the consciousness, the injuries, the path forward that we can see, because the public in general aren't used to seeing this.
But before Kemp's arrest, just a month before, he appeared here inside Cherokee County Judge Michelle Holmeyer's courtroom, charged with battery after hitting his wife. At the time, it was his second domestic violence offense. And according to state law, that means the judge was required to sentence Kemp to something called a Family Violence Intervention Program. It's a 24-week course designed to rehabilitate habitual offenders.
The judge should have ordered it unless there was a factual reason that was enunciated on the record of why it was not appropriate.
But Judge Holmeyer didn't do that, instead giving him time served and probation. 25 days later, Kemp nearly killed his wife. What was your reaction when you saw that this defendant was not sentenced to this program?
It is a call to arms for me.
This isn't the first time someone has accused Judge Holmeyer of handing down or recommending lenient sentencing. It started here at the county solicitor's office when she worked as a prosecutor in 2012. Holmeyer's boss at the time reprimanded her for recommending overly lenient sentences involving a speeding and a DUI case. 4 months later, as a judge, she allowed a driver ticketed for speeding 93 in a 65 to post an essay on social media instead of paying a fine. The surprised driver even tweeting, "I got out of a ticket by posting on Facebook about the dangers of speeding." Bye, Felicia.
Cherokee County 911 with location of your emergency.
But the one crime that stands out the most, Judge Holmeyer's sentences for DUIs.
Sir, you've been placed under arrest for robbing under the influence. All I need you to do is put your hands
According to a report created by the county's DUI court, over the past 3 years, Judge Homeyer has sentenced 7 DUI offenders below what the state law requires.
Okay, so what's the third way?
Karen Morrison is a law professor at Georgia State University. What message does that send to the community?
So if a judge is consistently lenient with a particular class of cases, that could potentially send a message that the judge doesn't take those types of crimes that seriously or believes that those crimes are treated overly harshly legislatively. This is more unusual because while there's debate about the narcotics laws, there aren't debates in the same way about whether driving under the influence should be treated more leniently.
Good morning, Cherokee County. How's everyone this morning?
The Reveal reached out to Judge Homeyer multiple times for about a month for an interview. She never responded. So we caught up with her this past Tuesday before a campaign event. Judge Homeyer, Andy Parati, 11Alive News. How are you? Good. Nice to meet you. I wanted to ask you some questions.
Yeah, thank you.
She kept walking, and so did we. Do you have anything to say about the David Kim case? Why didn't you sentence him to a family violence intervention program?
No comment.
Do you have anything to say?
No comment.
You're an elected judge. Do you really think that you can't talk about any closed cases? An elected official walking away from questions about levying lenient sentences for serious crimes.
I didn't want him anymore. I couldn't handle anymore.
There are little to no repercussions for judges who do not follow sentencing guidelines. Cherokee County's court administrator says the state's judicial code of conduct frowns upon judges speaking about closed cases or even their judicial philosophy. Her recommendation for the public to hold judges accountable: do it at the ballot box. You can see more in-depth investigations like this one by going to our website, 11alive.com, and don't forget to watch The Reveal, the only local investigative show in the country, Sundays at 6 on our sister station, 11Alive.
Folks, it's cold out there. We're watching those temperatures fall through the rest of the evening hours tonight with mainly clear skies. Some places are cooling off a lot faster than others, and we often see this when we have clear skies out there. In Atlanta, we hold on to the heat a little bit longer with all the concrete and buildings around, where it's still 41 degrees. Duluth, you're still at 40, so you're just 1 degree lower than we are. But look over at Athens. You're at 33 degrees, and it seems to be cooling off a little faster over to the east of us. It's 32 in Covington, 37 in Eatonton, also in West Georgia. Carrollton, we always see warmer air over here in Carroll County, and also in actually cooler air during these evening hours. 34 in LaGrange right now, and in Carrollton, 38 in Rome. Look at the 20s, though, in Blairsville. So, yes, it is a chilly night. And we have a little bit of a breeze, not a strong wind or anything. We're just talking about winds northwest at 8 miles an hour. But that is enough of a wind to make it feel a little bit colder. So that 40, 41 degree temperature we have here in Atlanta feels more like it's 36. In Athens, it feels like it's 29, as well as in Carrollton, feeling like 29. And then 32 is the same, really there, not much of a wind in Covington. That's the same as their temperature. And then 34 in Marietta. So stay with us. We're going to talk more about the really cold air we're going to start off with in the morning, and then things warm up a little bit more during the day. We'll have a lot of sunshine, a dry weekend, but we do begin to see some changes on Sunday. We'll break all of that down for you coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Chris, we'll see you in a couple of minutes, sir. Police are still looking for the suspects involved in a chase with state troopers last night. That's going to top our speed feed. Troopers tried to pull over a vehicle, and they say when the driver didn't stop, they started chasing that car on Interstate 20 East. The car exited on Boulevard, where it slammed into the front of a patrol car, but still didn't stop there. Investigators say the car just continued down Carroll Street, where the driver crashed into a utility pole and a parked car. The driver took off running on foot, and Georgia Power was left to clean up those downed power lines. Fulton County has solved another cold case after it completed testing a backlog of rape kits. Dana Sterling was convicted of raping a woman in 2007 in Atlanta. He left her for dead outside of a church, but someone came along and was able to help her out. It was not until 2016 when a new law was enacted that law enforcement agencies submitted all of their untested rape kits to the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, leading to several arrests and convictions. That's how they were able to tie Sterling to this case. And a man was arrested for carrying a gun at a campus on Kennesaw State University. There he is. Warren said that someone reported this suspicious guy on campus last week. KSU police confronted Grant Deere with their guns drawn after they found him stuffing a duffel bag under a van that did not belong to him. Police say he had a handgun, a knife, a few bullets, and some empty shell casings on him. However, he is out on bond.
He says it's humbling for the president to consider him for the job, but Congressman Doug Collins does not want to be the director of national intelligence.
This is not a job that interests me at this time. It's not one that I would accept because I'm running a Senate race down here in Georgia.
Doug Richards spoke to the Congressman Collins today, who says he's not giving up on that Senate race.
You could have been director of national intelligence. Why not?
Well, first off, it was never offered to me. And that's the first thing. And I think the really thing is I'm in this to win a Senate race.
The director of national intelligence reports directly to the president. Along with the CIA, it is one of 2 independent agencies in the U.S. intelligence community, in addition to the intel functions of the military, the FBI, Homeland Security, and other agencies. Collins says no federal job could dislodge him from the Senate race.
So let's just solve this. There's no scenario you're going to give me at this point that I'm going to sit here and say, that's the magic ticket. Doug Collins is not in this for magic ticket. Doug Collins is to be the best senator that Georgia's ever had.
Hey, Senator, how are you? Collins wants to unseat Kelly Loeffler, the political newcomer appointed by Governor Kemp to fill the Senate seat of Johnny Isakson. Loeffler instantly became, like Collins, a vocal supporter of President Trump. Do you give her any credit at all for being supportive of President Trump?
I give her credit for reading the talking points that she's given. What's amazing is every position she's moved toward is a position Doug Collins has already had.
Collins will run for the Senate in a nonpartisan special election commonly known as a jungle primary. The candidates may campaign as Democrats and Republicans, but the ballot won't list them that way. It means Collins will be on the same ballot as Loeffler, plus Democrats Raphael Warnock, Ed Tarver, Matt Lieberman, and others. If no candidate gets 50% plus 1, there will be a January runoff between the 2 top vote-getters. Collins says his challenge to Loeffler does not help the Democrats.
This is going to be a runoff. It's going to be 1 Republican, 1 Democrat, and we're going to take that runoff and we're going to win.
And Collins says he can beat Loeffler even if he doesn't get public support from President Trump. How much of your campaign is dependent on a presidential tweet later this year?
None. We've asked him to say, we have an understanding that he's going to stay out of this race. We believe he'll stay out of this race. That's all up to the President of the United States.
You're giving the president a lot of credit for being disciplined with his Twitter account.
The president is a disciplined individual.
Well, Senator Loeffler declined to comment. She has collected a lot of endorsements in recent days from national figures like Mitch McConnell, Newt Gingrich, and local officials allied with Governor Brian Kemp. Yet Collins says he is the frontrunner because of his experience in Congress.
All right, straight ahead, a teenager killed after trying to scare off some intruders with a BB gun. The suspects all part of the Ghostface gang. Stay with us.
It's 5 to 7 a.m. on 11Alive.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11Alive today.
I haven't seen you in a while. Where you been?
It looks like fun.
They are fun, and they're convenient, but they're being dumped everywhere.
5,000 scooters at one time active throughout the city. I enjoy them myself. They're fun. There's got to be some regulations.
I just feel like we have to evolve with the times, though. They're not going anywhere. They shouldn't go anywhere. It's a new way of transporting. We have to evolve.
I'm going to be looking for you next time, so use the hashtag and let us know you're hanging out with us. Morning Rush, weekdays, 5 to 7 a.m.
You see them all day, every day. Headlines, stats, and numbers, but without context, they're just clickbait. So let's add some perspective. The 3 most interesting numbers of the day, what they mean, and why they're important. News and numbers on Up Late.
What's the best part about
your voice? It is never too loud or too much. Your voice has the power to tell it like it is.
bringing us together to act?
Together, our voices grow. Together, we come alive, amplifying voices and breaking down barriers to change the story and shape the future. Together, we are unstoppable. Together, we are where Atlanta speaks.
remember the old days, the old cliffhangers when we used to watch shows?
Hate
And they
cliffhangers.
would, they would wait the next week. You were, what's going to happen to the $6 million man? He was hanging with his one bionic arm.
Morning Rush, weekdays 5 to 7 a.m. Only on 11Alive.
Atlanta. Almost 6 million people call the Metro home. But what makes this place so great? I'm 11Alive's Chesley McNeil. I'm going to give you 3 reasons why Atlanta is the best city in America. Come on, man. It's the heart of the South. And it's one of the most diverse cities around. People from all walks of life have come here and made it home. From different backgrounds, languages, and religions. And who can forget about the food? They all make this a cultural melting pot, full of great people and Southern hospitality. Atlanta's rich history is unmatched, known as the cradle of the civil rights movement for good reason. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Andrew Young, John Lewis, they all fought in the struggle for equal rights right here. Businesses on Sweet Auburn Avenue, local black churches, and college students from Atlanta all helped shape the future of America. Once an Olympic city, Atlanta's home to the best sports scene across the nation. Hey look, the South has something to say. You won't find more passionate fans anywhere. From the Atlanta Braves home run king, my man Hank Aaron, to the human highlight film Hawks Dominique Wilkins, some of the greatest athletes have come through Atlanta. We're talking the Falcons, the
5 suspected members of the Ghostface gang now under arrest for a home invasion where a teenager was killed. The sheriff's office revealing tonight 14-year-old Haley Adams was shot after she tried to scare off the intruders with a BB gun. 11Alive's Latasha Gibbons spoke to investigators in Coweta County.
The sheriff released new details in this case, including the fact that one of the suspects is the stepbrother of the homeowner. Now, investigators say when the suspects initially arrived at the house, they were looking for their homeowner, but once they were inside, they only found Haley and her mother.
To have a 14-year-old girl, innocent girl, get shot like that, it hurts. It hurts hard.
Coweta County Sheriff Lynn Wood is talking about the tragic death of Haley Adams. The teen was shot and killed during a home invasion on February 11th. Investigators say 3 men and 1 woman forced their way in the house looking for the homeowner. Haley apparently hid in a closet while her mother was held at gunpoint by the suspects. But as they left the house, deputies say Haley came out of hiding and went to the front door with a BB gun.
When the guys were getting in the car, one of the ones leaving the house turned around and fired in toward the house, striking the girl as she was running away.
The girl and her mom had only been living at the home for about a week. One suspect was arrested last weekend. Investigators announced more arrests today.
So we have 5 people in custody now, 2 in Chattanooga. The other 3 are here. They all been charged with murder at this time, pending other charges.
Deputies haven't said what the motive was or who pulled the trigger.
All of them that we've arrested have been identified as part of the Ghostface gang.
Investigators also revealed today that one of the suspects in custody, William Tyree, is the stepbrother of the homeowner. Conley and Wicks had their first appearance before a judge this afternoon. Bond was denied for both. No word yet on when Ramsey or Brown will be extradited back to Georgia.
We have been keeping an eye on the lake levels up at Lake Lanier as these levels have been really close to a record. And we were moving up yesterday with all the rain that we had. And then today, we didn't have any rain around and we saw those lake levels coming down, but it's not just because of that. It's also because of the Corps of Engineers actually releasing some water there at the dam. So we're down a little bit. Yesterday we were at 1076.70. Now we're down at 1076.57. I know that's just kind of minor, but it just shows us the trend that it's coming down a little bit. And the record level, the highest that Lake Lanier has ever been recorded, is 1077.15. That was back in 1964. So right now we're a little bit more than a half of a foot away from that record. And so I really think that depending on how much they're releasing over the weekend, we're not going to see this rising anymore. But next week, we do get more rain. So we'll probably see the lake coming up a little more. Whether or not we break the record, I don't know that we'll have enough rain to do that, but we'll, of course, keep a close eye on that for you. So here's a look at what we're watching out there with the almanac for today. You know, we had a lot of sunshine, felt great. It was dry, finally, feeling really good out there. Our high was 48 degrees. but that's 10 degrees below the average. We should be at 58 for this time of year. Our low this morning, we were just above freezing. We were at 34 degrees. We didn't really hear many reports of any issues with black ice around the area here in the metro Atlanta area, but up in North Georgia, we did have some of that. 1/100th of an inch of rain. That was during the overnight hours after midnight, not during the afternoon or anything. But I want you to see this surplus of rainfall. We are now just under 10 inches above where we should be in rainfall for the year. It has been a very, very wet pattern here for the past few months. 41 degrees is our temperature right now, but colder in Carrollton where it's 34, LaGrange you're 33, Athens you're really cool over there at 33, Covington at the freezing mark, 40 though at Duluth. So a wide range of temperatures out there, 28 in the Blairsville area. Tomorrow's going to be a great day. I hope you're able to enjoy it. This is today we had that chance to dry out. This is what we've been waiting for. After a really soggy week, we've been hoping for a time that we could dry out. We had it today. We'll have it again tomorrow. It's going to be dry on Sunday, too. But it's just going to be a chilly start in the morning. Temperatures right there around 29 degrees. And then in the afternoon, we're up to 57 with mostly sunny skies. And you know, we rate your weather here at 11Alive and on the ATL. On a scale from 1 to 11, we're going to go with a 10 on the wazometer. The only reason not an 11, just because that morning temperature is going to be really cold out there. So here's a look at the forecast track. In the morning Saturday, mainly clear skies, really cold, but we'll have a lot of sunshine during the day. Temperatures start to rebound a little bit with those highs that will move into the mid and even some upper 50s in some spots. A few changes move into our area on Sunday, and that's going to be with an increase in cloud cover. Now, at first, I'm thinking this cloud cover is going to be more of those thin clouds that just kind of still allows the sunshine to filter through. And then during the day, those clouds will thicken up later. Still no rain with those clouds until we get into Monday and the morning showers on the north side. And then look at this, more of this rain moves in during the day on Monday for a soggy pattern once again for the first part of next week. So great Saturday, sunshine, 57, 59 Sunday with a few more clouds. And then Monday, we're up to 60, but we have the rain chances that come back. And still some rain chances with us Tuesday, but a little bit lower at 50%. Warmer as well, up to 67. And then the rain ends on Wednesday. We start to cool off again with the high of 58. And then Thursday and Friday look dry, but those highs will be chilly, only in the upper 40s.
All right, folks, you know what time it is. You see your screen. It is time for Friday's edition of the A Scene, and we are kicking off with a huge congratulations to Atlanta's very own rapper Lil Yachty and his mother, Vanita McCullum. Guess what? They just launched a very big project together, and I bet you can't guess what it is.
Later, I had something, now I'm in the game. Went from fake chains to diamonds in another lane. Went from king, take me here to screen out the lane.
Look at him now. 4 years ago, Lil Yachty was telling his mother that he had huge dreams bigger than where he was, and he quickly became one of the nation's biggest rappers with hits like I Spy with My Little Eye. And now look, he has helped his mother launch a book called Raising a Rapper, and it was welcomed with open arms by VIP guests and music industry executives earlier this week. Now, in her debut book, his mother shares an inside look into her son's journey from the college dorm room to the Forbes list in just 2 years, and even hits on topics that parents may not think of when they're raising their young star about the importance of parental support, legal decisions, finances, and so much more. Raising a Rapper, out now. And calling all plus-size models, how would you like to be the face of Ashley Stewart's latest plus-size modeling campaign? That'd be cool, right? The casting call is going down this Saturday, Camp Creek Marketplace, 11:30 a.m. And guess what? The first 75 guests will get an Ashley Stewart gift bag. The winner will get flown to New York City and have a fabulous photo shoot for their new line. Just show up on Saturday and be ready to strut your stuff for Ashley Stewart. And remember the kid rapper Young Dylan that we all fell in love with when we watched the Ellen DeGeneres show? Well, we since told you that, Tyler Perry loved his story so much that he decided to create a show after him. Well, they just dropped this poster teasing us for the big air date. The series follows a family whose world is turned upside down when their nephew, Young Dylan, played by Dylan Gilmer, an aspiring hip-hop star, moves in unannounced. And the show was produced by, written by Tyler Perry, of course, and shot at his studios. It'll air on Nickelodeon on Saturday, February 29th, the big premiere at 8:30 p.m. Make sure to support.
All right, thanks a lot, Fran. New on Primetime, a Forsyth County deputy comforts an injured dog for hours after rescuing her from a roadway. My news reporter, Brittany Kleinpeter, has their story.
You could tell in her eyes that she wanted to be loved. So it was Monday morning, about 4 o'clock in 4 a.m. We received a call for a animal had been struck by a vehicle laying in the road. When we arrived on scene, we located a young, what we thought was a young German Shepherd.
Deputy Josh Day says as he got near the dog, she initially growled and tried to run away.
I realized it was wagging its tail as well, so I knew it wasn't an aggressive animal.
For 2 hours, Day stayed with the dog until animal services arrived. She was treated for a fracture and placed in a cast.
I did think about her a lot. Knowing that nobody had claimed her and that I knew she was going to have an extensive recovery. Speaking to my wife about it, she actually asked me if I wanted to bring her home and asked me if I loved her. And I said, well, I do like her. She is 6 years old. I went to visit her in the animal hospital and they were calling her Juliet. When I rescued my animal, or my German Shepherd, his name was Romeo, so I kind of knew it was a kind of a meant-to-be type deal.
And on Valentine's Day, Day would bring Juliet home to become the newest member of the family.
She hasn't got on the couch in the bed yet. She's still kind of having to stay in the kennel. I have to take her out with a sock on it so don't get wet. She has to wear the cast for 5 more weeks, and I just hope she has a good rest of her life because she deserves it.
Yo, my, I guarantee they never seen a side. Yeah, feels so good to be.
An Atlanta rapper surprises local elementary school students using his music to drop some knowledge.
Uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11Alive today.
Babe, where are my keys?
Where's my lunch?
Where's my phone? Hey, where's my blue shirt?
Where's my pen? Have you seen it?
Everybody has learned how to drive, so I'm going to go ahead and retire.
It didn't last long. Crank up your morning rush with Crash Clark. Weekdays, 5 to 7 a.m. on 11Alive. Traffic brought to you by John Foy & Associates.
I woke up at 2 in the morning to be here. Where were you?
Once you allow it, right, then it sets you up for the entire week where you just have lost it.
Like on a Sunday, it's like, oh, let's just order some Chinese food, and of course you wind up eating tons of that. And then on Monday, you're like, well, I got leftovers, I can't let it go to waste.
Auntie wants to give you a plate to take home from the barbecue.
Auntie.
No.
Auntie, don't invite me to the barbecue.
I'm gonna be looking for you next time, so use the hashtag and let us know you're hanging out with us. Morning Rush, weekdays, 5 to 7 a.m. Only on 11Alive.
The 11Alive app is your go-to source for all things Atlanta.
You hear what happened today? I'll tell you all about it.
Breaking news the moment it happens.
The boil water advisory.
Hyper-local, accurate weather alert.
You may want to grab that sweater, maybe even a coat.
More stories to uncover. More videos to discover.
He did it his way.
Personalized for you.
And that's what makes it so special.
The 11Alive app. Available now in the App Store.
Hey, I got the ways to go. I got moves to make, homie, but I stay in the flow. See, I just do what I say I'ma do. No, movement ain't fading. You could assume what the doing was great.
Oh, and so I was saying, there is always something filming here in Atlanta. From movies to TV shows, you name it. And so the A scene keeps up with all of it for you. Casting calls, which big celebrities are in town, what's filming, and if it's in your neighborhood. It's like an inside scoop.
Oh, nice. But you know, I really wish you would have told us we were filming this today.
Ooh, did I not text you? All right. Ah, it's in my drafts. That's my bad.
So you slept in and you missed Morning Rush, huh? Well, here's what you missed. In my experience, good guys do finish last.
I consider myself a nice guy. I've got the most beautiful woman in the world in my eyes.
You're a nice guy too,
Yeah.
Jess.
I'm saying in my experience, when growing up, good guys didn't finish last.
So it may not be your typical school literature like the Scarlet Letter or even Shakespeare.
Yeah, that's right. So it's hip hop and it's being used as a tool to teach students English language arts, something I need help with right now.
Even if I can just teach them one thing,
everything will be worth it.
There you go. That's rapper Protege. He surprised fifth graders at College Park Elementary School today. It's all part of the Reading with a Rapper program. The program helps students relate rap lyrics and metrics to what they're learning in the classroom. Other states use this as part of their curriculum as well. Today's shorter pop-up program was the first one in Georgia.
It's getting cold, and it's only going to get colder overnight. We start off in the morning with temperatures around 29 degrees with mainly clear skies. We warm up pretty nicely, though, during the day. 57 for a high on Saturday with mostly sunny skies. And then Sunday, a low of 33 and a high of 59. But clouds increase. Rain chances stay away, though, for the weekend. They come back next week with showers on Monday into Tuesday, ending Wednesday. It'll be warm when the rain is here, and then once that moves out for the end of the week, it gets cold again.
Man, the weekend looks great, though.
Looks good.
It does.
Absolutely. Hey, we got more Primetime coming up right after the break.
On 11Alive, traffic brought to you by John Foy and Associates.
Atlanta is filled with great photo spots. And of course, I would know because this is my hometown. I'm 11Alive's Francesca Amaker, and I'm about to show you my picks for the 3 best Instagram spots in Atlanta. The Outcast mural is one of Atlanta's newest hotspots. Created by the artist Jex, people flock from all over the world just to get a shot of these 2 hip-hop legends. News of the mural went viral when Big Boy himself gave a shout out on Instagram. You can find it tucked away in a back parking lot in Little 5 Points. An Atlanta icon, ever-changing, always interesting. The Krog Street Tunnel is full of artwork from some pretty eclectic Atlanta artists.
Yeah, all we feel is good vibes. When you vibe with it, it's a good time. We don't worry about the hate, we just pass it to the side.
There's graffiti, community messages, concert announcements. You really never know what you're gonna get here, and that's what makes it so special. You can find it between Cabbagetown and Inman Park. If you've never checked it out, it's a must-see. There are hundreds of works of art along the Beltline. I'm talking murals, sculptures, photography. This beautiful mural was created by the artist Hence. It's 100 feet long, and even though it was created in 2014, it still remains very popular to musicians and photographers alike. You can find it on the East Side Trail under Virginia Avenue. So let me know what you think. It doesn't have to be street art. Maybe your favorite spot is down the street from your home or a great view. Connect with me on Facebook and Instagram and share your favorite Instagram spots in Atlanta. And come hang out with me on Morning Rush, weekdays 5 to 7 a.m. on 11Alive.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11Alive today.
I haven't seen you in a while. Where you been?
It looks like fun.
They are fun.
And they're
convenient. But they're being dumped everywhere.
5,000 scooters at one time active throughout the city. I enjoy them myself. They're fun.
Yeah.
There's got to be some regulations.
I just feel like we have to evolve with the times, though. They're not going anywhere. They shouldn't go anywhere. It's a new way of transporting.
Yeah.
We have to evolve.
I'm going to be looking for you next time, so use the hashtag and let us know you're hanging out with us. Morning Rush, weekdays 5 to 7 a.m.
You see them all day, every day. Headlines, stats, and numbers, but without context, they're just clickbait. So let's add some perspective. The 3 most interesting numbers of the day, what they mean, and why they're important. News and numbers on Up Late.
What's the best part about
Your voice, it is never too loud or too much. Your voice has the power to tell it like it is.
Bringing us together to act.
Together, our voices grow.
11Alive News Primetime on the ATL starts now.
New developments on this Friday night in a story that we have been following from the very beginning. When it was first reported, a missing persons report, now it is a murder case.
And it really is a story that has gripped our newsroom as well as the city. We're talking about the disappearance and death of Fort Valley student Anitra Gunn. Tonight, her boyfriend is charged with killing her. Hope Ford has the latest details in the investigation.
My son's never done anything in the morning.
He didn't do this incident.
DeMarcus Little's father defending his son in court. At first, Little was only charged with property damage, accused of vandalizing Anitra Gunn's car and apartment before she disappeared. Little was granted a $10,000 bond, but before he could post it, the GBI released this information.
During the investigation, enough information was developed that gave us probable cause to obtain an arrest warrant charging DeMarcus Little with malice murder.
The GBI didn't give details on the new evidence, and Gunn's cause of death is still pending the outcome of the autopsy. Investigators found the Atlanta native's body in the woods Tuesday near Fort Valley, her body covered with sticks. Detectives say they received thousands of tips on the case and increased manpower.
Probably 75, 100 people have been working on this case all week.
Little asked for a lawyer and has not been interviewed again by police since the new charge.
Little will have another hearing in the coming days, and police say they're still trying to track down some evidence, including the missing right bumper of Gunn's car.
Hope Ford, thank you. For a timeline of this case and to read more about the investigation, just go to the As Seen on TV section of the 11Alive app.
I'm Melvin Lopez at Peachtree Industrial Boulevard and Shadburn Ferry Road, where police say that just after 4:15 p.m., eyewitnesses saw a man get into a car accident, get out of his car with what seemed to be some sort of AK-style rifle. Now, police say that then they heard gunshots nearby and that suspect from the original car accident had carjacked a vehicle, then drove through Shoal Creek's park and into the lake. Then started shooting at officers. Officers then returned fire. That's when police say divers went into the lake and found the man's body near the vehicle. Now, police are telling us that no officers were injured.
Tonight, a driver involved in a chase with state troopers is still on the run. Troopers tried to pull over a 2006 Hyundai Sonata last night on I-20 East. The driver did not stop. Instead, the car exited on Boulevard, where it hit a patrol car and then kept going. Investigators say the car continued to Carroll Street, where the driver crashed into a utility pole and a parked car. The driver then took off running.
Police say they have caught one person involved in a shooting at Lenox Square, but they are still looking for another. Detectives say a man was shot last week behind Bloomingdale's after arranging to meet someone in the parking lot. Today, police revealed they have arrested Shakiria King yesterday. They have identified the second suspect, but they have not released his name. The man shot is going to be okay.
Fulton County has solved another cold case after it completed testing on a backlog of rape kits. Dana Sterling was convicted of raping a woman in 2007 in Atlanta. He left her for dead outside of a church, but someone came along and helped her. It wasn't until 2016 when a new law required law enforcement agencies to submit all of their untested rape kits to the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, leading to several arrests and convictions. That's how they were able to link Sterling to this case.
5 suspected members of the Ghostface Gangsters now under arrest in a home invasion where a teen was killed. The sheriff's office revealing tonight 14-year-old Haley Adams was shot as she tried to scare off the intruders with a BB gun. 11Alive's Latasha Givens spoke to investigators in Coweta County.
The sheriff released new details in this case, including the fact that one of the suspects is the stepbrother of the homeowner. Now, investigators say when the suspects initially arrived at the house, they were looking for their homeowner, but once they were inside, they only found Haley and her mother.
To have a 14-year-old girl, innocent girl, get shot like that, it hurts. It hurts hard.
Coweta County Sheriff Lynn Wood is talking about the tragic death of Haley Adams. The teen was shot and killed during a home invasion on February 11th. Investigators say 3 men and 1 woman forced their way in the house looking for the homeowner. Haley apparently hid in a closet while her mother was held at gunpoint by the suspects. But as they left the house, deputies say Haley came out of hiding and went to the front door with a BB gun.
When the guys were getting in the car, one of the ones leaving the house turned around and fired in toward the house, striking the girl as she was running away.
The girl and her mom had only been living at the home for about a week. One suspect was arrested last weekend. Investigators announced more arrests today.
So we have 5 people in custody now, 2 in Chattanooga. The other 3 are here. They all been charged with murder at this time, pending other charges.
Deputies haven't said what the motive was or who pulled the trigger.
All of them that we've arrested have been identified as part of the Ghostface gang.
Investigators also revealed today that one of the suspects in custody, William Tyree, is the stepbrother of the homeowner. Conley and Wicks had their first appearance before a judge this afternoon. Bond was denied for both. No word yet on when Ramsey or Brown will be extradited back to Georgia.
Coca-Cola is concerned about the coronavirus. Coke is based here in Atlanta, but China, where the virus originated, is the company's third largest market in the world. Executives say that means the virus is going to hit Coke's sales and profits. However, according to the Atlanta Business Chronicle, Coke executives still expect to hit their goals for the year. The company says it's also taking extra precautions to protect employees in China by installing temperature screening and providing health monitoring services. A new much-needed clinic is improving access to health care for people along Atlanta's Beltline. Wellstar held a ribbon cutting today for a new primary care office on DeKalb Avenue. That's near Cabbagetown. Almost 16% of Georgians under age 65 are uninsured. That's according to the U.S. Census Bureau. The 7,500 square foot office will accept walk-in patients as well as scheduled appointments 7 days a week.
Well, he says it's humbling for the president to consider him for the job, but Congressman Doug Collins does not want to be the director of national intelligence.
This is not a job that interests me at this time. It's not one that I would accept because I'm running a Senate race down here in Georgia.
Doug Richards spoke to Congressman Collins today in Hall County in Gainesville, who says he is not giving up on the Senate race.
You could have been director of national intelligence. Why not?
Well, first off, it was never offered to me, and that's the first thing. And I think the really thing is I'm in this to win a Senate race.
The director of national intelligence reports directly to the president. Along with the CIA, it is one of 2 independent agencies in the U.S. intelligence community, in addition to the intel functions of the military, the FBI, Homeland Security, and other agencies. Collins says no federal job could dislodge him from the Senate race.
So let's just solve this. There's no scenario you're going to give me at this point that I'm going to sit here and say, that's the magic ticket. Doug Collins is not in this for magic ticket. Doug Collins is to be the best senator that Georgia's ever had.
Hey, Senator, how are you?
Collins wants to unseat Kelly Loeffler, the political newcomer appointed by Governor Kemp to fill the Senate seat of Johnny Isakson. Loeffler instantly became, like Collins, a vocal supporter of President Trump. Do you give her any credit at all for being supportive of President Trump?
I give her credit for reading the talking points that she's given. What's amazing is every position she's moved toward is a position Doug Collins has already had.
Collins will run for the Senate in a nonpartisan special election commonly known as a jungle primary. The candidates may campaign as Democrats and Republicans, but the ballot won't list them that way. It means Collins will be on the same ballot as Loeffler, plus Democrats Raphael Warnock, Ed Tarver, Matt Lieberman, and others. If no candidate gets 50% plus one, there will be a January runoff between the 2 top vote getters. Collins says his challenge to Loeffler does not help the Democrats.
This is going to be a runoff. It's going to be 1 Republican, 1 Democrat, and we're going to take that runoff and we're going to win.
And Collins says he can beat Loeffler even if he doesn't get public support from President Trump. How much of your campaign is dependent on a presidential tweet later this year?
None. We've asked him to say, we have an understanding that he's going to stay out of this race. We believe he'll stay out of this race. That's all up to the President of the United States.
You're giving the president a lot of credit for being disciplined with his Twitter account.
The president is a disciplined individual.
Senator Loeffler has declined comment. She has collected many endorsements in recent days from national figures like Mitch McConnell and Newt Gingrich and local officials allied with Governor Kemp. Yet, Collins says he is the front runner because of his experience. We asked NBC's Chuck Todd to analyze President Trump's thinking.
It's clear President Trump is desperately trying to do something here in this Republican primary, and I think that he hoped that somehow Collins would find this job so appealing he would do it. But frankly, it was sort of an odd thing. It seemed to come out of nowhere other than to deal with a political need of the president's, and he thought maybe he could kill 2 birds with 1 stone. But I don't think Doug Collins came to Washington with hopes of running the intelligence agency one day. I think he's a guy that strikes me that he wanted to move up the electoral ladder. So this seemed to be a misread by the president.
President Trump wrapped up a rally in Las Vegas, back in Washington tonight.
A new bill wants to...
I'm meteorologist Chris Holcomb from the 11Alive Storm Trackers, and it is dry out there right now. We'll be dry through the weekend, but Yeah, you guessed it. The rain showers are coming back into the forecast. We'll give you a timeline of when to expect to get wet again.
A new bill wants to save our sandwiches. Why advocates say it could help feed children during the summer when they don't have other options.
Jr., Andrew Young, John Lewis, they all fought in the struggle for equal rights right here. Businesses on Sweet Auburn Avenue, local black churches, and college students from Atlanta all helped shape the future of America. Once an Olympic city, Atlanta's home to the best sports scene across the nation. Hey look, the South has something to say. You won't find more passionate fans anywhere. From the Atlanta Braves home run king, my man Hank Aaron, to the human highlight film Hawks Dominique Wilkins, some of the greatest athletes have come through Atlanta. We're talking the Falcons, the Braves, the Hawks, the MLS champs, Atlanta United. This city has something for every kind of sports fan. So what do you think? Is Atlanta the best city in America? Connect with us. Use Facebook or Instagram and tell us why this city's got it going on. And then watch us every weekday morning from 5 to 7 on The Morning Rush on 11Alive.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11Alive today.
Babe, where are my keys?
Where's my lunch?
Where's my phone? Hey, where's my blue shirt?
Where's my pen? Have you seen it?
Everybody has learned how to drive, so I'm going to go ahead and retire.
It didn't last long. Crank up your morning rush with Crash Clark. Weekdays, 5 to 7 a.m. on 11Alive. Traffic brought to you by John Foy & Associates.
I woke up at 2 in the morning to be here. Where were you?
Once you allow it, right, then it sets you up for the entire week.
SOS Save Our Sandwiches, that's the name of a new bipartisan bill quickly moving through the Georgia legislature.
Well, this is one thing that everybody seems to agree on in the state legislature. The driving force behind this, one nonprofit's program for the needy that was cut off over the summer. Last summer, Must Ministries was told it could no longer accept donations of homemade sandwiches for its summer lunch program. The charity had provided lunches to up to 7,000 children. Think about how many children are hungry during the summer? They don't have lunch. They've been doing this for 24 years. It was all made possible by volunteers who made and then delivered the sack lunches.
Yeah, that is until the health department got a tip about the program and told the charity it would have to find another way to get the food. It's all because current state law doesn't allow volunteers to make sandwiches in kitchens that aren't state certified or supervised. And they soon learned the only way around the law is to change it.
Whether you're a Republican or whether you're a Democrat, everybody is concerned about children. And so everybody's been looking and coming to us from different political parties saying, we want to help you.
And state lawmakers are doing just that. Now, a new state Senate bill sponsored by Senator Kay Kirkpatrick from Cobb County aims to eliminate the restrictions that crippled the program. It will allow nonprofits like Must Ministries to be exempt from rules that apply to other food establishments as long as they have a permit from the local government ensuring food is prepared safely and hygienically.
The bill called the Save Our Sandwiches bill has passed every hurdle almost unanimously. Just yesterday, it cleared the Senate. Now it heads to the House. But again, you have to think about all those thousands of children hungry during the summer months, man. It's horrible. If passed and signed by Governor Kemp, it would take effect immediately to ensure that Must Ministries will have time to plan for this summer sandwich program.
And if the law does not pass, Must Ministries is hoping to get their kitchen state certified so that they can continue to make sandwiches under the current law. And like you said, so many children who are in need.
Staggering. I mean, it's sobering as we sit here on a Friday night. We take those kinds of things for granted.
Absolutely.
All right, let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Chris Holcomb right now.
Everyone's thinking about their plans for the weekend, Chris. You said that you were doing a Facebook Live earlier. Almost 400 people on there on a Friday?
You're right, yeah. And they were eager to find out what to expect for the weekend and kind of like, is it true? Can I really expect dry weather? Because we are so used to having so much rain. And take a look at radar. We're glad that Our radar is actually getting a little bit of a break right now. It's scanning the skies, but it doesn't have anything to bounce off of to indicate any rain out there, and that's a good thing. In fact, as we zoom out, you can see that most of the southeast is dry, except for just off the coast of Florida. We have a few showers there, but dry weather conditions here in our area, and nothing's moving our way either. So tomorrow's going to be another great day with mostly sunny skies. Here's a live look at Athens, and you can see that a lot of folks are parked on the side of the street. I've been watching a few people walking around the sidewalks. They're scurrying a little bit and are hopefully bundled up because it is pretty chilly out there right now, or we're watching those temperatures fall. In fact, Athens, one of our cooler spots, 33 at this hour. Covington's a little bit cooler at 32. We also have freezing temperatures in LaGrange at 32, and then of course even colder up in Blairsville. It's 28 degrees out there right now. Atlanta, one of the warmer spots at 40, and we're going to continue to see those temperatures fall through the rest of the nighttime hours tonight. We will be near freezing at midnight, I think below freezing, then after midnight for a few hours, and then temperatures will be in the 20s here early in the morning for a really chilly start, but then we start to warm up pretty quickly. At 8 o'clock, we'll be at 30, but look at this jump between 8 and 10. We're already up to 39, and then continuing some sharp climbs in those temperature readings throughout the rest of the morning hours here, and we eventually will get up to around 57 in the afternoon. We're going to have a lot of sunshine, mostly sunny conditions, but it's just that really chilly start. That's the only reason we're not going with an 11 on the wasometer tomorrow. That's the highest of our range here. That would be a perfect 11Alive day, but we're going with a 10 on the wasometer just because these temperatures are so cold out there for the start of the day. But the afternoon is actually looking really nice. Here's a look at the forecast track. Dry weather conditions to start the day tomorrow. Plenty of sunshine around throughout the entire day. By 5 o'clock, still mostly sunny skies. Through the evening hours, looking great, but it's on Sunday when we start to see some changes moving in, and that's with the increase in some of that cloud cover. And I really think it's going to start off with high, thin clouds. The sun's still going to be able to filter through those high, thin clouds, but then they're going to thicken up during the day and becoming a little more overcast and blocking out more of that sun, but still no rain expected with these clouds that we have on Sunday. So I still think Sunday's going to be a rain-free day. It's on Monday when we start to see a little bit more moisture there with those clouds. Dry in the morning on Monday, but a few showers up in far north Georgia. And then as we continue around lunchtime and after, that's where we're going to see that rain increasing, moving in from the west. And we'll have a pretty good coverage of this late afternoon and into the evening hours. And then some of those showers are going to linger into Tuesday as well. So here's a look at that weekend forecast. Soak it up, folks. Tomorrow's going to be great, starting off at 29 with a high of 57 with mostly sunny skies. But then on Sunday, clouds increase, but still no rain. A low in the morning of 33 and a high of 59. But the rain will come back moving into next week. On Monday, we get up to 60 degrees, but the showers move in, about a 70% chance for rain. Tuesday, 50% chance for showers with highs really warm up to 57. Rain chance goes down on Wednesday as that system moves out of here. And then as we dry out on Wednesday, it starts to cool off again. 58 for a high Wednesday, and then 40s for highs on Thursday and Friday with the mixture of sunshine and clouds. Check out our wow weather moment. This is a great picture from Lana Ridley Dorn up at Lake Lanier, showing how some folks out on their houseboats, what they have to do in order to get back to land, walking through some of the docks there and some of the walkways by walking on planks so they won't have to walk over water. So some crazy pictures there with the high water levels there, just about a little more than a half of a foot away from breaking a record in the water level. We'd love for you to be a part of our Weather Wow moment. And we often get these pictures and videos from our 11Alive Storm Trackers group. If you want to become a member of that on Facebook, just search 11Alive Storm Trackers. Ask to become a member, we'll approve you. And then you can see and share pictures, videos, and a lot of weather information there from this group.
I'm Francesca Amaker with the A-Scene. Atlanta rapper Lil Yachty has a new project in the works, and he's teaming up with a very special person in his life, his mother. I have the details for you coming up in the A-Scene.
Wait the next week, what's going to happen to the $6 million man? He was hanging with his one bionic arm.
Morning Rush, weekdays 5 to 7 a.m. only on 11Alive.
Atlanta. Almost 6 million people call the Metro home. But what makes this place so great? I'm 11Alive's Chesley McNeil. I'm going to give you 3 reasons why Atlanta is the best city in America. come on, man. It's the heart of the South. And it's one of the most diverse cities around. People from all walks of life have come here and made it home. From different backgrounds, languages, and religions, and who can forget about the food? They all make this a cultural melting pot, full of great people and Southern hospitality. Atlanta's rich history is unmatched, known as the cradle of the civil rights movement for good reason. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Andrew Young, John Lewis, they all fought in the struggle for equal rights right here. Businesses on Sweet Auburn Avenue, local black churches, and college students from Atlanta all helped shape the future of America. Once an Olympic city, Atlanta's home to the best sports scene across the nation. Hey look, the South has something to say. You won't find more passionate fans anywhere. From the Atlanta Braves home run king, my man Hank Aaron, to the human highlight film Hawks Dominique Wilkins, some of the greatest athletes have come through Atlanta. We're talking the Falcons, the Braves, the Hawks, the MLS champs, Atlanta United. This city has something for every kind of sports fan. So what do you think? Is Atlanta the best city in America? Connect with us. Use Facebook or Instagram and tell us why this city's got it going on. And then watch us every weekday morning from 5 to 7 on The Morning Rush on 11Alive.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11Alive today.
Babe, where are my keys?
Where's my lunch?
Where's my phone? Hey, where's my blue shirt?
Where's my pen? Have you seen it?
Everybody has learned how to drive, so I'm going to go ahead and retire.
It didn't last long. Crank up your morning rush with Crash Clark. Weekdays, 5 to 7 a.m. on 11Alive. Traffic brought to you by John Foy & Associates.
I woke up at 2 in the morning to be here. Where were you?
Once you allow it, right, then it sets you up for the entire week where you just have lost it.
All right, folks, you know what time it is. You see your screen. It is time for Friday's edition of the A Scene, and we are kicking off with a huge congratulations to Atlanta's very own rapper Lil Yachty and his mother, Vanita McCullum. Guess what? They just launched a very big project together, and I bet you can't guess what it is. Look at him now. 4 years ago, Lil Yachty was telling his mother that he had huge dreams bigger than where he was, and he quickly became one of the nation's biggest rappers with hits like I Spy with My Little Eye. And now look, he has helped his mother launch a book called Raising a Rapper, and it was welcomed with open arms by VIP guests and music industry executives earlier this week. Now, in her debut book, his mother shares an inside look into her son's journey from the college dorm room to the Forbes list in just 2 years, and even hits on topics that parents may not think of when they're raising their young star, about the importance of parental support, legal decisions, finances, and so much more. Raising a Rapper, out now. And calling all plus-size models, how would you like to be the face of Ashley Stewart's latest plus-size modeling campaign? That'd be cool, right? The casting call is going down this Saturday, Camp Creek Marketplace, 11:30 a.m. And guess what? The first 75 guests will get an Ashley Stewart gift bag. The winner will get flown to New York City and have a fabulous photo shoot for their new line. Just show up on Saturday and be ready to strut your stuff for Ashley Stewart. And remember the kid rapper Young Dylan that we all fell in love with when we watched the Ellen DeGeneres show? Well, we since told you that, Tyler Perry loved his story so much that he decided to create a show after him. Well, they just dropped this poster teasing us for the big air date. The series follows a family whose world is turned upside down when their nephew, Young Dylan, played by Dylan Gilmer, an aspiring hip-hop star, moves in unannounced. And the show was produced by, written by Tyler Perry, of course, and shot at his studios. It'll air on Nickelodeon on Saturday, February 29th, the big premiere at 8:30 p.m. Make sure to support.
Well, that does it for me. I'm heading out to go start my rapping career.
I really love that with the two guys on the boat and all of that,
yeah,
in the wagon. Isn't that awesome?
Yeah, it was a
I always think local television should do that with us.
You think so? Just big Ed?
For generations, we're always shown running up Capitol steps or getting in a helicopter. Put us on a ship like that. People will be paying attention.
Ahoy. Ahoy. All right. Well, in 30 minutes or so, I'll see you over on 11Alive for Up Late.
All right. Thanks. Appreciate your good work.
You bet.
Enjoy the weekend. All right, here's what's coming up on the Big 36. A bus driver frightened by road rage, shocked when she sees the other driver is a Atlanta police officer. Look, he gets out of his car, he's clutching his weapon. We're looking into his record, which isn't so great. That's coming up next.
Some mornings, what you want isn't what you have time for. And that's why there's the Rush Blog, the biggest news of the day in 5 minutes or less. Quick and convenient for all those hectic mornings. Catch the Rush Blog on the Morning Rush.
Everybody has learned how to drive, so I'm going to go ahead and retire.
It didn't last long. Crank up your morning rush with Crash Clark. Weekdays, 5 to 7 a.m. on 11Alive. Traffic brought to you by John Foy & Associates.
Atlanta is filled with great photo spots. And of course, I would know because this is my hometown. I'm 11Alive's Francesca Amaker, and I'm about to show you my picks for the 3 best Instagram spots in Atlanta. The Outcast mural is one of Atlanta's newest hotspots. Created by the artist Jex, people flock from all over the world just to get a shot of these 2 hip-hop legends. News of the mural went viral when Big Boy himself gave a shout-out on Instagram. You can find it tucked away in a back parking lot in Little 5 Points. An Atlanta icon, ever-changing, always interesting. The Krog Street Tunnel is full of artwork from some pretty eclectic Atlanta artists.
Yeah, all we feel is good vibe with it, it's a good time. We don't worry about the hate, we just pass it to the side.
There's graffiti, community messages, concert announcements. You really never know what you're gonna get here, and that's what makes it so special. You can find it between Cabbagetown and Inman Park. If you've never checked it out, it's a must-see. There are hundreds of works of art along the Beltline. I'm talking murals, sculptures, photography. This beautiful mural was created by the artist Hints. It's 100 feet long, and even though it was created in 2014, it still remains very popular to musicians and photographers alike. You can find it on the East Side Trail under Virginia Avenue. So let me know what you think. It doesn't have to be street art. Maybe your favorite spot is down the street from your home or a great view. Connect with me on Facebook and Instagram and share your favorite Instagram spots in Atlanta. And come hang out with me on Morning Rush, weekdays 5 to 7 a.m. on 11Alive.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11Alive today.
I haven't seen you in a while. Where you been?
It looks like fun.
They are fun.
And they're
convenient. But they're being dumped everywhere.
5,000 scooters at one time active throughout the city. I enjoy them myself. They're fun. There's got to be some regulations.
I just feel like we have to evolve with the times, though. They're not going anywhere. They shouldn't go anywhere. It's a new way of transporting. We have to evolve.
I'm going to be looking for you next time, so use the hashtag and let us know you're hanging out with us. Morning Rush, weekdays, 5 to 7 a.m.
You see them all day, every day. Headlines, stats, and numbers, but without context, they're just clickbait. So let's add some perspective. The 3 most interesting numbers of the day, what they mean, and why they're important. News and numbers on Up Late.
What's the best part about
Your voice, it is never too loud or too much. Your voice has the power to tell it like it is.
Bringing us together to act.
Together.
Tonight, an exclusive reveal investigation uncovers a Georgia judge accused of handing down lenient sentences for serious crimes and, in some cases, not following state-required guidelines. One case involves a repeat domestic violent offender who nearly killed his wife. Here's Andy Parati.
Cherokee 911, address of your emergency.
I think I've got a victim of a domestic dispute in my parking lot. She's got 2 black eyes.
Wendy Jo Simpkins waits for an ambulance inside her SUV after her husband beat her inside their Cherokee County home in 2018. The injuries even shocking a deputy. Oh,
What did he hit you with? That's all I can remember. I guess the whole time I just kept thinking I wanted to stop. That's all I kept saying to myself in my head.
A short time later, investigators arrest her husband, David Kemp.
You have the right to remain silent.
And on July 31st, 2019, a judge sentenced Kemp to 40 years in prison. Stephanie Woodard is Hall County's Solicitor General and chair of Georgia's Commission on Family Violence.
This is a case that shocks the consciousness, the injuries, the path forward that we can see, because the public in general aren't used to seeing this.
But before Kemp's arrest, just a month before, he appeared here inside Cherokee County Judge Michelle Holmeyer's courtroom, charged with battery after hitting his wife. At the time, it was his second domestic violence offense. And according to state law, that means the judge was required to sentence Kemp to something called a family violence intervention program. It's a 24-week course designed to rehabilitate habitual offenders.
The judge should have ordered it unless there was a factual reason that was enunciated on the record of why it was not appropriate.
But Judge Holmeyer didn't do that, instead giving him time served and probation. 25 days later, Kemp nearly killed his wife. What was your reaction when you saw that this defendant was not sentenced to this program?
It is a call to arms for me.
This isn't the first time someone has accused Judge Holmeyer of handing down or recommending lenient sentencing. It started here at the county solicitor's office when she worked as a prosecutor in 2012. Holmeyer's boss at the time reprimanded her for recommending overly lenient sentences involving a speeding and a DUI case. 4 months later, as a judge, she allowed a driver ticketed for speeding 93 in a 65 to post an essay on social media instead of paying a fine. The surprised driver even tweeting, "I got out of a ticket by posting on Facebook about the dangers of speeding." Bye, Felicia.
Cherokee County 911 was location of your emergency.
But the one crime that stands out the most, Judge Holmeyer's sentences for DUIs.
Sir, you've been placed under arrest for driving under the influence. What I need you to do is put your hands.
According to a report created by the county's DUI court, over the past 3 years, Judge Holmeyer has sentenced 7 DUI offenders below what the state law requires.
Okay, so what's the third way?
Karen Morrison is a law professor at Georgia State University. What message does that send to the community?
So if a judge is consistently lenient with a particular class of cases, that could potentially send a message that the judge doesn't take those types of crimes that seriously, or believes that those crimes are treated overly harshly legislatively. This is more unusual because while there's debate about the narcotics laws, there aren't debates in the same way about whether driving under the influence should be treated more leniently.
Good morning, Cherokee County. How's everyone this morning?
The Reveal reached out to Judge Holmeyer multiple times for about a month for an interview. She never responded. So we caught up with her this past Tuesday before a campaign event. Judge Holmeyer, Andy Parati, 11Alive News. How are you? Good. Nice to meet you. I wanted to ask you some questions.
Yeah, thank you.
She kept walking, and so did we. Do you have anything to say about the David Kemp case? Why didn't you sentence him to a family violence intervention program?
No comment.
Do you have anything to say?
No comment.
You're an elected judge. Do you really think that you can't talk about any closed cases? An elected official walking away from questions about levying lenient sentences for serious crimes.
I didn't want him anymore. I couldn't handle anymore.
There are little to no repercussions for judges who do not follow sentencing guidelines. Cherokee County's court administrator says the state's judicial code of conduct frowns upon judges speaking about closed cases or even their judicial philosophy. Her recommendation for the public to hold judges accountable: do it at the ballot box.
A MARTA bus driver says she was horrified when an off-duty officer confronted her, and now she wants that officer off the force. Natisha Lance spoke with her.
I was scared, frightened for my life.
MARTA bus driver Rosemary Holliday says she hasn't been the same since last November. That's when an off-duty APD officer swerved around her bus, coming to an abrupt stop in the middle of a busy road.
I thought I was going to get a ticket.
She didn't think Officer Aaron Swan, still in uniform, would jump out of his car, grab his gun, and curse her out.
I was shocked when I seen him get the weapon, as was the passengers.
No!
We feel this officer should be fired.
Holiday and community activist Marcus Coleman met with Atlanta Police Chief Erica Shields Thursday to make that request.
I want to thank Chief Shields for her apology to me.
Officer Swan has been with the department since 2011. In that time, he's had at least 10 disciplinary actions taken against him, including for suspensions and for vehicle accidents.
But he should not be allowed to work in this state again.
APD told us in a statement that that officer has been relieved of duty and is on administrative assignment. Coleman says he is planning a police accountability and community town hall with Chief Shields and other members of APD. A man was arrested for carrying a gun on campus at Kennesaw State University. Warrants say someone reported a suspicious man on campus last week. KSU police confronted Grant Deere with their guns drawn after they found him stuffing a duffel bag under a van that didn't belong to him. Police say he had a handgun, a knife, a few bullets, some empty shell casings on him as well. Dyer is now out on bond. Flu season continues to hit the U.S. very hard, and we now know how effective the vaccine really is. So far this season, the CDC says at least 29 million people have come down with the flu. More than 280,000 people have been hospitalized, and at least 16,000 have died. 105 children have died, which is the highest number recorded by the CDC, with the exception of the 2009 flu pandemic. It's not too late to get your flu shot. The CDC says this year's vaccine has been shown to be effective in 45% overall, 55% effective in children. A Forsyth County deputy comforting an injured dog for hours after rescuing her from a roadway. My News reporter Brittany Klein-Peter has our story.
You could tell in her eyes that she wanted to be loved. So it was Monday morning, about 4 a.m. We received a call for a animal had been struck by a vehicle laying in the road. When we arrived on scene, we located a young, what we thought was a young German Shepherd.
Deputy Josh Day says as he got near the dog, she initially growled and tried to run away.
I realized it was wagging its tail as well, so I knew it wasn't an aggressive animal.
For 2 hours, Day stayed with the dog until animal services arrived. She was treated for a fracture and placed in a cast.
I did think about her a lot, knowing that nobody had claimed her and that I knew she was going to have an extensive recovery. Speaking to my wife about it, she actually asked me if I wanted to bring her home and asked me if I loved her. And I said, well, I do like her. She is 6 years old. I went to visit her in the animal hospital, and they were calling her Juliet. When I rescued my animal, or my German Shepherd, his name was Romeo, so I kind of knew it was a kind of a meant-to-be type deal.
And on Valentine's Day, Day would bring Juliet home to become the newest member of the family.
She hasn't got on the couch in the bed yet. She's still kind of having to stay in the kennel. I have to take her out with a sock on it so don't get wet. She has to wear the cast for 5 more weeks, and I just hope she has a good rest of her life because she deserves it.
Good for that officer. Let's hope that dog leads a long, happy life. This is a story of the civil rights movement and the story of one man who oftentimes is overshadowed. It's easy to happen when your brother is Dr. King. Nick Sturdivant sat down with the Reverend A.D. King's wife to take a look back at his life and legacy.
I would be remiss if I did not share with you.
More than 50 years after her husband's death, Naomi King continues to teach younger generations, not only about the issues of the day, the civil rights movement.
A lot of people did not know, and still do not know, that ML had a brother.
But the man, also on the front lines of the movement, Reverend A.D. King.
We met at when we were like 12 and 13, and so I just can't think of a day of without him. I just cannot.
Naomi and A.D. married in 1950. She later attended the University of Alabama. She had a front row seat to her husband's work.
Whatever ML wanted done that he could not do, he would ask AD to do it, and AD would take it and do it in a heartbeat.
After graduating from Morehouse College in 1959, he went into the ministry, eventually taking over as pastor of First Baptist Church outside of Birmingham, Alabama. Then moving to Kentucky in the mid-60s to pastor another church. But he remained dedicated to his activist work. King's house in Birmingham was bombed in 1963 as a result of his activism, and he was regarded as one of the main strategists for the Selma demonstration. More than a year after his brother was killed, AD's life would also end tragically.
I lost it because I said, drown? I said, well, AD was an excellent swimmer.
He was found at the bottom of the family swimming pool.
God simply said to me that AD did not drown. He was killed.
While his death continues to be a mystery, Naomi continues to keep his name alive. In 2008, she established the A.D. King Foundation.
He was funny, he was smart, he was just the utmost.
Mrs. King now travels promoting youth and women empowerment and entrepreneurship. She's also written books and has been part of a documentary about her late husband. Trapped in China, a high school teacher from Fort Valley describes what it's like living at the center of the outbreak and tells us she is stuck, can't get out of there.
And we had so much rain this week, and we've been waiting for this pattern to change. We started seeing that today with the dry air in place, and it looks like the dry air is going to stick with us for the weekend. But the rain is coming back. I'll give you an updated timeline.
Has it really been 40 years since a miracle on ice occurred? One player looks back on one of the great moments in the history of American sports in the 20th century.
Day it's like, oh, let's just order some Chinese food, and of course you wind up eating tons of that. And then on Monday you're like, well, I got leftovers, I can't let it go to waste.
Auntie wants to give you a plate to take home from the barbecue.
Auntie!
Auntie, don't invite me to the barbecue.
I'm gonna be looking for you next time, so use the hashtag and let us know you're hanging out with us. Morning Rush, weekdays 5 to 7 a.m. only on 11Alive.
The 11Alive app is your go-to source for all things Atlanta.
You hear what happened today? I'll tell you all about it.
Breaking news the moment it happens.
The boil water advisory.
Hyper-local, accurate weather alerts.
You may want to grab that sweater, maybe even a coat.
More stories to uncover. More videos to discover.
He did it his way.
Personalized for you.
And that's what makes it so special.
The 11Alive app. Available now in the App Store.
Hey, I got the ways to go. I got moves to make, call me, but I stay in the flow. See, I just do what I say I'm gonna do. No, my movement ain't faded. You could assume what you're doing was great.
Oh, and so I was saying, there is always something filming here in Atlanta. From movies to TV shows, you name it. And so the A Scene keeps up with all of it for you. Casting calls, which big celebrities are in town, what's filming, and if it's in your neighborhood. It's like an inside scoop.
Oh, nice. But you know, I really wish you would have told us we were filming this today.
Ooh, did I not text you? All right. Ah, it's in my drafts. That's my bad.
So you slept in and you missed Morning Rush, huh? Well, here's what you missed. In my experience, good guys do finish last.
I consider myself a nice guy. I've got the most beautiful woman in the world in my eyes.
You're a nice guy too,
Yeah.
Jess.
I'm saying in my experience, when growing up, good guys didn't finish last.
Somebody broke his heart somewhere along the line.
We're here every weekday morning, so come on, hang out with us. Morning Rush, weekdays, 5 to 7 a.m., only on 11Alive.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11Alive today.
You didn't get my text? The whole crew got together for coffee this morning. I'm learning the taste of water, because I'm sugary. Yeah, right.
About that.
Reward would be
Slimming down. Okay.
Yes.
Right, yeah,
okay.
a little water in my cup.
And beautiful skin. You know, even more beautiful skin, you know, when it's all hydrated and everything else. I'm not gonna be able to sit next to you in a few months.
Don't drink your morning coffee alone. Have it with us. Morning Rush, weekdays, 5 to 7 a.m. Only on 11Alive.
Some mornings, what you want isn't what you have time for. And that's why there's the Rush Blog, the biggest news of the day in 5 minutes or less. Quick and convenient for all those hectic mornings. Catch the Rush Blog on the Morning Rush.
Everybody has learned how to drive, so I'm going to go ahead and retire.
It didn't last long. Crank up your morning rush with Crash Clark. Weekdays, 5 to 7 a.m. on 11Alive. Traffic brought to you by John Foy & Associates.
The coronavirus, of course, causing great concern everywhere. Today, China reported more than 75,000 cases. At least 2,200 people have died worldwide, the vast majority in China. But growing concern all over Asia, and for that matter, pick a country. Today, there has been an announcement in South Korea that 200 people have been infected. It's 4 times more cases than just 48 hours ago. Now, while the coronavirus continues to spread in China and elsewhere, one Georgia family trying to get out desperately. They're trying to flee, but they have not been able to do it. Davina Jackson and her 2 children live in Nanjing, China. She calls Fort Valley, Georgia home in Middle Georgia. She is currently working as a high school teacher overseas. She says the coronavirus outbreak has devastated the city. Stores are closed and her family has been trapped inside their apartment for days. Davina says the virus is impacting everyone around her, and now she is afraid to go to work.
I told them, I'm not coming to work. I have 2 children at home to take care of. If I get sick, they get sick. I'm all the way in China. Who's going to take care of my kids if something happens to me? And God forbid something happens to them because I decided to go to work.
Davina says she's reached out to the American Embassy in China, and she says they can't help. But right now, she's trying not to let that stress impact her family.
My children are okay because they don't know what's really going on. They know that there's a virus, but I'm just trying to keep them having a normal schedule, normal life as possible. But I really need help. I don't want to be here. I don't feel safe. We are not safe. We are being lied to. They're saying that it's safe and that I can come to work. It's not safe.
The only way she can fly to the U.S. is through Korea or Thailand, but right now ticket prices going for as much as $3,000. And there is a link to her family's GoFundMe on our website for anybody who wants to help with the cost, and she would be very appreciative, I'm sure.
We started off with some really chilly air out there this morning, but we didn't get below freezing here in Atlanta. I know a lot of you did in the outlying areas, and we didn't really have much in the reports of black ice around Metro Atlanta. We did have some of that frozen stuff, though, up in North Georgia. And with the sunshine today, temperatures moved up through the 40s. We got up to 48 degrees for a high, and then during the evening hours, they've been falling again. 40 degrees out there right now, and we'll be in the 30s soon, then below freezing, and even starting off tomorrow morning in the upper 20s. So it's going to be a really chilly start. We do have some areas outside the city that are around freezing, like Covington, Carrollton, LaGrange at freezing. We're below freezing in Blairsville in the 20s right now there. Athens, you're cold at 33, where we're at in the lower 40s here, one of the warmer spots that we have. Now look what happens tomorrow. We're going to start off early in the morning around sunrise with temperatures that'll be around 29 degrees to start. We'll see sunshine around, but then I want you to see these big jumps in the temperatures throughout the morning hours. At 9 o'clock, we'll already be up to 36. So going from 29 at sunrise to 36 at 9, then 44 at 11, 51 at 1, and then moving up to around 54, 55. I even think that we may be a couple of degrees warmer than that, getting up to 57 in the afternoon. So it's going to be feeling really nice, you know, close to where we should be here as we get closer to the end of February. And then cooling off again during the evening hours, getting down to about 46 at 9 o'clock. I don't think it's going to be as cold tomorrow night or on Sunday morning as we're going to be tonight and tomorrow morning. There you see it starting off at 29, then we get up to 57 in the afternoon, mostly sunny skies. Not quite an 11 on the wasometer. That's our scale from 1 to 11, where an 11 is a perfect day. The only reason we're not going with an 11 is because it's just going to be so cold in the morning, but we are going with the 10. Going to be a nice day, especially for those afternoon hours. Forecast track shows the dry weather we have here on your Saturday. You just see a little bit of a wind shift there. It's going to be on Sunday when we see these changes coming in with clouds increasing decreasing, and then eventually the rain will return on Monday. So those clouds coming in on Sunday will not be the rain producers, just kind of blocking out the sunshine at times. Highs near 59. 60 Monday, but a 70% chance for showers. 50% chance Tuesday, warming to 67. That rain ends early on Wednesday, then decreasing clouds and cooler at 58. Highs only in the 40s Thursday and Friday.
All right, sports. Trae Young's first NBA 50-point game ended with him giving his game jersey to Quavo. Asked why he didn't keep it himself, he said, "It's not the last time I'll score 50. Trae Young continues to be an offensive bright spot for the Hawks. He is a man who can fill it up.
In high school, I averaged 43, so I scored 50 a lot. I wasn't able to do it in college, but, I mean, kids can only dream of scoring 50 in the NBA game. Like, it's unreal. And for me to be able to do it in my second year and also get a win, I was able to enjoy it a lot more.
He is an offensive marvel. Atlanta United back in the States, back training for the second leg of their championship league matchup against Motagua. The Five Stripes drew 1-1 in leg one. They only need a win or a scoreless draw on Tuesday night to advance. The game is at Fifth Third Bank Stadium in Kennesaw. Georgia Tech says upgrades at Bobby Dodd Stadium are underway. LED stadium lights, a new sound system, and upgraded restrooms, among others. All should be set and ready to go by fall here in the season of 2020. The countdown commences. President Trump today honored 14 members of the Miracle on Ice team, that U.S. hockey team that beat the Soviets in 1980 in Lake Placid. Some consider it the greatest upset in the history of sports. That's probably a pretty good way to describe it after all these years. This weekend marks the 40th anniversary of that moment in Lake Placid. Arian Anderson has more.
Has it really been 4 decades since a group of college hockey players pulled off one of the biggest upsets in Olympic history?
We were there just to win a hockey, or try to win a hockey tournament and play well, but we have no idea it would resonate this long.
Lake Placid was Buzz Schneider's second Olympic Games.
But we had a pretty good team. We didn't know how good until we got into the Olympic Games and we started beating the Swedes and the Czech.
They finished pool play by knocking off Norway, Romania, and West Germany. Then came the epic showdown in the medal round with the Soviet Union. If you were alive, you remember where you were when the U.S. hockey team stunned the 4-time defending gold medalists.
Yeah, it's something. It's like I said, it's amazing. It's resonated, but it was a great game. I'm glad we only played it once.
Many people forget about the gold medal game 2 days later. Head coach Herb Brooks made sure his players didn't forget about the Finns, telling his team,
If you lose this one, you take it to your grave.
The rest is history. This weekend, the remaining members of that team will relive it, celebrating the 40th anniversary together in Las Vegas.
A lot of guys be jarbing each other and giving each other a bad time, but we're a very close team, and it'll be a lot of fun.
So much to love about that moment. Yeah, if you were old enough, you remember where you were exactly when you heard that score. I know I remember I was in a newsroom my senior year in college. All right, we'll take a break. We're back after this.
Morning Rush, weekdays, 5 to 7 a.m., only on 11Alive.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11Alive today.
You didn't get my text? The whole crew got together for coffee this morning. I'm learning the taste of water because I'm sugary.
Yeah.
Right.
About that.
Well, reward would be
slimming down. Okay. Yes.
Right,
Okay.
yeah, a little water in my cup.
And beautiful skin. You know, even more beautiful skin, you know, when it's all hydrated and everything else. I'm not going to be able to sit next to you in a few months.
Don't drink your morning coffee alone. Have it with us. Morning Rush, weekdays, 5 to 7 a.m., only on 11Alive.
Some mornings what you want isn't what you have time for. And that's why there's the Rush Block, the biggest news of the day in 5 minutes or less. Quick and convenient for all those hectic mornings. Catch the Rush Block on the Morning Rush.
Everybody has learned how to drive, so I'm going to go ahead and retire.
It didn't last long. Crank up your morning rush with Crash Clark. Weekdays, 5 to 7 a.m. on 11Alive. Traffic brought to you by John Foy & Associates.
Atlanta is filled with great photo spots. And of course, I would know because this is my hometown. I'm 11Alive's Francesca Amaker, and I'm about to show you my picks for the 3 best Instagram spots in Atlanta. The Outcast mural is one of Atlanta's newest hotspots. Created by the artist Jex, people flock from all over the world just to get a shot of these 2 hip-hop legends. News of the mural went viral when Big Boy himself gave a shout out on Instagram. You can find it tucked away in a back parking lot in Little 5 Points. An Atlanta icon, ever-changing, always interesting. The Krog Street Tunnel is full of artwork from some pretty eclectic Atlanta artists.
Yeah, all we feel is good vibe with it. It's a good time. We don't worry about the hate. We just pass it to the side.
There's graffiti, community messages, concert announcements. You really never know what you're gonna get here, and that's what makes it so special. You can find it between Cabbagetown and Inman Park. If you've never checked it out, it's a must-see. There are hundreds of works of art along the Beltline. I'm talking murals, sculptures, photography. This beautiful mural was created by the artist Hints. It's 100 feet long, and even though it was created in 2014, it still remains very popular to musicians and photographers alike. You can find it on the East Side Trail under Virginia Avenue. So let me know what you think. It doesn't have to be street art. Maybe your favorite spot is down the street from your home or a great view. Connect with me on Facebook and Instagram and share your favorite Instagram spots in Atlanta. And come hang out with me on Morning Rush, weekdays 5 to 7.
The weekend beckons. We have arrived.
Yes, we're very happy. Standing ovation.
Time to get off the bus and make our way toward a weekend where we don't shave and we hang out.
And its biggest trials and more. Subscribe to 11Alive today.
I haven't seen you in a while. Where you been?
It looks like fun.
They are fun.
And they're convenient.
But they're being dumped everywhere.
5,000 scooters at one time active throughout the city. I enjoy them myself. They're fun. There's got to be some regulations.
I just feel like we have to evolve with the times, though. They're not going anywhere. They shouldn't go anywhere. It's a new way of transporting.
Yeah.
We have to evolve.
I'm going to be looking for you next time, so use the hashtag and let us know you're hanging out with us. Morning Rush, weekdays, 5 to 7 a.m.
You see them all day, every day. Headlines, stats, and numbers, but without context, they're just clickbait. So let's add some perspective. The 3 most interesting numbers of the day, what they mean, and why they're important. News and numbers on Up Late.
What's the best part about
Your voice, it is never too loud or too much. Your voice has the power to tell it like it is.
Bringing us together to act.
Together, our voices grow. Together, we come alive, amplifying voices and breaking down barriers to change the story and shape the future. Together, we are unstoppable. Together, we are where Atlanta speaks.
Remember the old days, the old cliffhangers when we used to watch shows?
Hate
And they
cliffhangers.
would, you know, they would wait the next week. You were, oh, what's going to happen to the $6 million man? He was hanging with his one bionic arm.
Morning Rush, weekdays 5 to 7 a.m. Only on 11Alive.
Atlanta. Almost 6 million people call the Metro home. But what makes this place so great? I'm 11Alive's Chesley McNeil. I'm going to give you 3 reasons why Atlanta is the best city in America. Come on, man. It's the heart of the South. And it's one of the most diverse cities around. People from all walks of life have come here and made it home. From different backgrounds, languages, and religions. And who can forget about the food? They all make this a cultural melting pot, full of great people and Southern hospitality. Atlanta's rich history is unmatched, known as the cradle of the civil rights movement for good reason. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Andrew Young, John Lewis, they all fought in the struggle for equal rights right here. Businesses on Sweet Auburn Avenue, local black churches, and college students from Atlanta all helped shape the future of America. Once an Olympic city, Atlanta's home to the best sports scene across the nation. Hey look, the South has something to say. You won't find more passionate fans anywhere. From the Atlanta Braves home run king, my man Hank Aaron, to the human highlight film Hawks' Dominique Wilkins, some of the greatest athletes have come through Atlanta. We're talking the Falcons, the Braves, the Hawks, the MLS champs, Atlanta United. This city has something for every kind of sports fan. So what do you think? Is Atlanta the best city in America? Connect with us. Use Facebook or Instagram and tell us why this city's got it going on. And then watch us every weekday morning from 5 to 7 on The Morning Rush on 11 Alive.